Ready when you are.
Good afternoon. The Board of Adjustment is now in session. My name is Anthony Robinson, and I will be chairing today's meeting. Attending today's virtual meeting are board members Mona Parsley, Ann Grice, Mel DeSimone, and Jim Dallas. Also in attendance for the city is Mary Hart Burton, zoning administrator for the city, Andy Powers, zoning plan reviewer for the city, who will represent the city in the cases we are hearing today, Andrea Gutierrez, lead zoning specialist. Our attorney for the board is Mia Wood, and our court reporter is Devin Richmond. Today we will be hearing 5 cases. First, we will hear from the city's representative, who will explain why the permit could not be issued. Next, we will hear from the petitioner and their representative. Please be prepared to explain your hardship and answer any inquiries from the board. Then we will hear from those in favor of the appeal, and then from those opposed. Please be concise, as testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per person. When you come online via video or telephone, please wait to be sworn in by the court reporter. Then please state your name and mailing address. To ensure proper records for our court reporter, we ask that those online or by telephone please remain on mute. Following testimony on today's cases, the board will go into its deliberative portion of the hearing, at which time we will vote on all cases heard. The board will notify each applicant or their representative of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. You're welcome to remain during our deliberations. However, we will not hear additional testimony at that time. You may also call the lead zoning specialist, Drea, tomorrow at 314-622-3666 to learn the outcome of your appeal. Again, that number is 314-622-3666. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20641?
Appeal number 20641, 4405 Norfolk Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. We would be.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to construct a new 2-story single-family home located at 4405 Norfolk Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance.
Looks like Andy is frozen.
This is of denial of a building permit concerning the appellant to
Mr.
build
Powers?
at 4405
Sorry.
Norfolk.
And Andy, you actually froze on us.
Thanks, Devin.
We'll need you to start again.
Okay. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to construct a new 2-story single-family home located at 4405 Norfolk Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis of denial of a building permit concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a permit authorizing the appellant to build at 4405 Norfolk Ave, St. Louis, Missouri 63110, and City Block 3975 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is B, 2-family dwelling district, and it is located within the Forest Park Southeast Form-Based District. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the neighborhood, throughout the city of St. Louis, and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas. and to fix the reasonable standards to which buildings and structures shall conform. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. Forest Park Southeast Form-Based Code, Section 3.2, letter V, building types allowed. Rear garage, carriage house, duplex, triplex, fourplex, row house and courtyard row house, stacked flats, courtyard building, commercial block building, live work units, and civic or institutional buildings. Section 4.3.1, letter B, number 1, letter A, number 2. Secondary building facades. Any facade on a side setback must have a minimum of 1 vertical plane break located at a distance greater than 25% of the distance from the front facade of the building to the rear facade of the building, which should be coordinated with a change from primary material to secondary building material. Horizontal plane breaks are not required on secondary building facades. Section 4.3.1, letter B, point 2, letter F, secondary building facades should use primary materials, secondary materials, and accent materials compatible with the primary building facades. The conversion from primary to secondary materials shall occur in accordance with the plane break requirements that building type for that building type as shown in section 4.3.1b, plane breaks. In summary, the appellant has applied for a building permit to build a single-family dwelling. It does not meet the requirements of the Forest Park Southeast Form-Based Code. First, single-family home is not an allowed building type in the Neighborhood General Type 3 district, requiring 1 use variance for consideration. The building also does not meet the building envelope standards for NG3, specifically the primary street build-to line and first floor ceiling height, requiring 2 area variances. Finally, the proposed building does not meet the building development standards for facades with respect to vertical plane break on a side setback and secondary facade building materials, requiring 2 more area variances for consideration. In total, 1 use variance and 4 area variances are required for consideration from the board. Finally, the Planning and Urban Design Agency of the City of St. Louis writes a memorandum for Board of Adjustment appeals, specifically to assist the board in executing their duties in the granting of variances weighed with keeping in the city's comprehensive plan. Planning staff has reviewed the appeal 20641 against the strategic land use plan, the land use element of the comprehensive plan. The location falls within the Forest Park Southeast Form-Based District, Neighborhood General Type 3. The site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood within the 2025 strategic land use plan. The designation describes areas that are primarily residential, pedestrian friendly, and close to neighborhood assets. The granting of the variance would be in keeping with this designation's intent of supporting many types of housing, including single-unit homes. While the staff recognizes the community input and modern planning throughout the created Forest Park Southeast Form-Based District, in order to design and support a cohesive and dense built environment, the variances requested are not in conflict with the SLOOP. Planning staff finds the request of Appeal 20641 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Are there any further questions from the board?
Mona?
I understood that the variance does not allow for a single family for a use variance. Could you explain that to me, please, sir?
Correct. So, Mary, do you have something to add about that?
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask, did I get this right, that it's 1 use variance and 2 area variances?
I believe it's 4 area variances.
Okay.
Two of them were reported from the Cultural Resource Office. They evaluate building materials and building massing and things like that. And then the overall building envelope standards do not allow for the proposed first floor height and the primary street build-to line, also known as the setback.
Okay, thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
And then I think I can also answer Mona's question, or at least take the first stab at it.
Yeah,
Mona, this is our form-based district in the Forest Park Southeast. And originally, when they established that form-based district, they envisioned parts of that neighborhood not having any residential, that it was going to be commercial. So we've had a series of these come before the board. And that's why it seems what happened was, since the time they passed the plan, I believe the market has changed in that area. And so people are starting to do housing, and they've just not ever updated their form-based code.
Oh, so they should do that if they want to continue to get use variances.
Well, we're actually not encouraging any of the form-based districts to update their code right now, because we're rewriting the entire zoning code, and we hope to include a lot of that stuff into the normal code.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Did
And
it
then-
answer your question?
Absolutely,
Okay.
it did. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then, Andy, if we could explain to me the build to line,
Mm-hmm.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, so the in the form-based code, there is a build to line, and then underneath that, there's a further section which describes the percentage of the building that has to be built to that line. The build to line is the primary setback regulation.
Right.
So when it says a build to line of 0, that means that 80%, in this case, I believe it's 80% for the neighborhood general 3, 80% of that building has to be at least built up to that 0 setback.
Okay, so what is the setback, please, sir?
The proposed setback.
Is it in line with the other buildings? I guess that's more my specific question.
I
couldn't
Not-
figure it out.
Yeah, I do not know that off the top of my head. I would have to.
You know what? We'll let the appellant. We'll ask him. He should know.
Sure.
He, she. And then we'll circle back if they don't. How's
Okay.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Not to put you on the spot like that, Andy. I apologize. Thank you.
Any other board members? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Hello, my name is Galia Kaziz, and I am calling to ask for an appeal.
Galia,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You need to be sworn in first.
Sorry. Yes.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Great. We may begin.
Okay. Now, can you get your
Sorry
name-
about that.
No, I'm sorry. Can we get your name and mailing
Okay.
address for the record?
Sure. My name is Galia Kaziz, and my mailing address is 1220 South Mason Road. Zip code is 63131.
Okay. Now you can proceed.
Okay. So yes, I am calling to request if we can change the current zoning from a 2-family dwelling district into a 2-story single-family home. Like it was mentioned before, the zoning area in this area has been changing over the years. It has been changed from, there were multiple houses in the area that were changed from commercial or a 2-family into a single family. You can look at the streets behind and after where this build is, and every house there has been a single new construction, high ceilings. That's like the new modern high demand. So this is going to be a build where we will build the house up to the standards and then sell. anyone have any questions?
Board members, any questions? Mona?
What is the reasoning why you can't meet the current request for the code of the height of the ceilings? What is your need to change that?
I mean, we can change the height of the ceiling if needed, but the reason we had those height for ceilings is that is what the area is demanding, and that's what everyone is wanting in that area. So if you look at the street behind the street, I don't know the name of the street on top of my head. All of the ceilings are high. It gives that grand entrance.
What's the height of the ceiling that you want?
I have to look exactly what the number was. I don't have the plans in front of me right now. But I can, let me see if I have them.
That would be helpful.
Yes, 1 second.
Andy, what's the height of the ceiling required? Please, sir? Is it 9 feet?
12 feet is the
12 feet?
required height.
Sounds like that's what people are wanting, but you want something different?
Let me look into the plans really quick. 1 second. Okay, I just pulled it right here.
I'm just trying to figure out what the hardship is here.
I mean, if the hardship is the height of the ceiling, we can definitely change the height of the ceilings as the city wants.
Okay. That's the requirement the city has put in for the form-based code. You're here asking to change that. I'm just trying to figure out why.
I mean, I don't have to change the height of the ceilings. I just want the single family. That's my biggest change and request.
Okay, so you can meet all the other variances that you've requested?
Yes.
Okay, and Andy, so the other 4 variances were, can we review those real quick? Just to
Sure.
make sure this is correct.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So the first 2 related to building massing and materials. Plane break on a secondary facade. So that's any facade on a side setback must have a minimum of 1 vertical plane break located at a distance greater than 25% the distance from the front facade of the building to the rear facade of the building, which should be coordinated from primary material to secondary material.
And
then
what
it's
are they asking for there, Andy? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Mhm.
Are they asking for a particular material?
what is the code asking for, or what is the appellant
The
asking for?
appellant, I just to be specific.
So it appears that on their plan, aside from like a trim corner,
Mm-hmm.
all of the material on the side of the building is a single material.
Okay, so you can meet that, Galia?
Yes.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, 1 down, 3 to go.
Yeah, and there is a suggestion from it's in the letter provided from the Cultural Resource Office, a suggestion
Right.
about how to meet that. And then the other one for the primary or for the material the code states that they should use materials compatible with the primary facade. The primary facade material presents as compliant fiber cement siding. I believe that the statement about compliant fiber cement siding is a statement from Cultural Resources. The secondary, and then this is the comment from Cultural Resources. The secondary facade's material is vinyl. This is not
Oh,
a
no,
compatible material between primary and secondary facades. So the primary has fiber cement siding, and then the secondary has vinyl.
All right, so that's not acceptable, Galia. You can change that as
Okay.
well, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Andy. And then there's two more.
Right. And then the other two, one is for the build to line
Right.
required to be 0. The other, you asked a question earlier about the other houses on the block. A 20-foot setback is what's proposed in this plan. That would actually align with the other houses on the block, the existing houses. And then the final one is the ceiling height.
Okay. Can we go back to the setback again? Because I'm a bit confused about that, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're asking for a 25% setback versus a 20%
But,
setback.
20-foot setback,
right.
which, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mary.
Yeah, I was going to try to explain it a little bit further.
Thank you.
Because this was an area that was never envisioned for residential, it had a form-based code zoning on it that allowed for commercial. And so the form-based code requires the commercial buildings to come all the way up to the street with 0 setback. And it also requires the commercial buildings to have the higher finished floor to ceiling height. So when you need a use variance because you want to do a use that's not allowed in the district, like this one is residential, it's not uncommon that you would also have area variance issues because that use was not intended for that area. Or for that zone. So it did not have area requirements in it for residential.
Got it.
Does that
Thank
make
you.
sense?
Yes, ma'am.
I
It
know
does.
it's kind of confusing.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm making everybody break this down.
One other thing I wanted to state for the board, just as a point of clarification, I think we heard some testimony from the petitioner about rezoning. And I just want to remind everybody, we're not here for a rezoning. This is a variance. It doesn't change the underlying zoning. It just grants a variance from the rules that underlying zoning dictates.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Correct. Got it.
Yes.
All right. Those are all of my questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for helping me through that. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm done.
Jim,
Well, Mona, I'm glad you've been asking this. So again, Andy and Mary, we've got 1 use variance and 4 area variances that are being requested or being considered.
That's correct. And then, as Mary stated, due to this use of a single family detached not being allowed, it brings along some other things.
Well, we have to consider then strongly consider if we're going to give the use variance, we almost need, I think, at least 2 of these 4 area variances. We can't, because we don't want the house coming up to the sidewalk or to the street, right? And then the ceiling variance seems like it's more driven by commercial zoning rather than residential. Even though Ms. Aziz says she could do without one, it seems like we have to deal with the setback one or the primary street setback one.
I think so.
I think that's correct, Jim. And based on testimony, the building is set back such that it aligns with the other houses on the block.
Okay. Okay.
I do have a question for the height ceiling. So you are asking to do 12, correct?
We're not asking. That's what the code requires.
Okay.
It would be helpful to know what you have in the plans, Ms. Aziz, what's in those plans without us trying to find it ourselves within the plans.
The disappeared.
I couldn't find it when I was just You shall, probably everybody saw me skip staring at my screen. I was trying to read what these plans say.
If I could offer up some clarification on that.
Yes, Amy.
Okay.
That would be sheet A3. It's the building profiles and elevations.
Uh-huh.
Toward the left of the page, it gives a ground elevation at 100 feet, and then a first floor elevation of 110. So that would be a 10-foot ceiling.
Are they on both floors, Andy?
The code does not specify a second floor ceiling height, I believe,
Okay.
just for that first floor. Or either it doesn't specify or the second floor was compliant. Either way, it wasn't written up.
I am very sorry the phone got disconnected.
No problem.
Anthony, could you see what Andy was referring to on A3 and you're satisfied? We can at least see that.
It is, so it's difficult for me to actually see that. I'd already been to A3, but I couldn't quite read it.
It's because these were concluding that the first floor is a 10-foot height.
Yes, that's what I have on my plans, correct.
And then what is the second floor height? Ceiling height?
Let's see. So the nine.
Okay.
And the basement is 9 too.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Anthony, I couldn't get done. Has she met with the neighborhood group at all, the neighborhood organization? I didn't see that.
Aaliyah, have you spoken with the neighborhood organization?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal?
Sorry, your voice was cutting. Are you talking to me?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for your testimony.
Okay, thank you. Should I close now?
You're welcome to stay.
Okay.
Or you can exit. If you stay, you
Okay.
mute your phone.
Okay. Thank you guys. Bye.
Mhm. Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Yes, I am. My name's Kim Jane. Yep.
Yes.
I'm a neighbor.
Okay, let's get you sworn in.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Great, we may begin.
Okay. Kim, can we get your full name and mailing address?
My name's Kim Jane, Jayne. I live at 4463 Norfolk, St. Louis 63110.
Okay, proceed.
I guess it's not specific to the variances. I'm not sure. I just want to note, and I'm sorry, the developer left, but when they cleared the brush off the front of the lot that they're at 4405, they moved everything to the back and they bulldozed it to where the brush and even the city trash dumpster is knocked over on its side. So everything was just pressed out to the alley and no consideration for common areas. We've been putting up with a whole lot of development in our area that's destroyed a lot of infrastructure, disturbed our peace. You know what's going on in the fires. Yeah, I'll stop. But if that's the way they're doing development already, it's not a good sign.
Okay, any board members have any questions? Yes, Mona.
Miss Jane,
Yes, ma'am.
have you spoken with your neighborhood stabilization officer or anyone to file complaints about what's going on?
Yes, I emailed our Alderman Michael Browning and I don't know if Ron Coleman was on there or not, but and turned it into the Citizen Service Bureau.
When did that happen?
I emailed the alderman just a few days ago, and he said you know, that he isn't up to date on every development in the ward. And that I should because the sign for this meeting was ripped up and thrown in the lot. I put it together and took a picture of it and realized what the date was. So I told the alderman that. But yeah, he just said to attend the meeting, and I couldn't find anyone at Union at the Grove. I don't know how to contact them.
That be Abdul. Is that who
Is
you're
that-
speaking about?
I thought that's Park Central.
Yes. Yeah, he's the neighborhood spokesperson.
Well, he don't speak for Norfolk people. I know that. He's never even agreed to take a walk around our block.
Are you not part of that neighborhood association?
I am, but Park Central, I mean, I go to the neighborhood meetings every third Tuesday, but nothing south of Manchester is ever discussed.
Oh,
We've
interesting.
been left to really rot over there. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Jane. Is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, city journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo for planning and urban design, and cultural resources office review signed by Bob Bettis. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20642?
Appeal number 20642, 16 Illinois Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to make exterior alterations and build a carport at 3316 Illinois Ave. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the city of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis of denial of a building permit concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a permit authorizing the appellant to build at 3316 Illinois Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri 63118 in City Block 1528.00 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is C, multiple family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the city of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas, and to regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows.
Sorry, Andy, this is Devin. You are breaking up, my friend.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I'll start over at the zoning code provisions. The applicable provisions are to conserve the values of the property throughout the city of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas, and to regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. 26.16.020 structures prohibited. No structure shall be erected, placed, enlarged, or structurally altered unless such action shall make the premises upon which it stands conform to the regulations for the district in which the premises are located, unless authorized by other provisions of the zoning code. Section 26.20.020 use regulations in the C district, which go back to the use regulations of the A district. Buildings or premises shall be used only for the following purposes. Letter E, accessory structures and uses customarily incidental to any of the above uses, except if the accessory structure is a garage, it shall only be a private garage that is located not less than 60 feet from the front line, nor less than 4 feet from any side lot line, nor exceeding 12 feet in height, nor more than 5 feet from the rear lot line, nor less than 10 feet from the rear of the dwelling and the wall of the accessory structure closest to the dwelling. In summary, the applicant has applied for a building permit to build an accessory carport structure. The site requirements for garages in all zoning districts specifies no greater than 5 feet from the rear property boundary. The proposed structure will be 22 feet 10 inches from the property line. One area variance is required for consideration. Note that this property is shown as 2 properties on the plans. The 2 parcels at 3316 and 3312 Illinois have since been consolidated. And finally, I'll read the memorandum from the Urban Planning and Urban Design Agency of the City of St. Louis. In order to assist the Zoning Board of Adjustment in executing their duties, specifically to granting the variance, specifically to granting of the variances in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Planning staff has reviewed the appeal 20642 against the 2025 strategic land use plan, the land use element of the comprehensive plan. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. The site is a medium intensity neighborhood within the 2025 SLOOP. These areas are primarily residential, limited commercial activities, and parking discouraged in the front and to the side of buildings. Granting of the variance would be in keeping with its designation's intent of supporting a primarily residential area and keeping the parking toward the rear of parcels with access from the alley. Planning staff finds the request of Appeal 20642 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Does the board have any questions for me?
So, Andy, again, it's just one, is it a use variance we're considering?
It's just one area variance.
One area variance, sorry. And it's for the carport that's being built on the former 3312.
Correct. Yeah, the permit in the entirety is for rebuilding an existing garage, or I think just re-roofing it, maybe adding some interior changes, and then building an entirely new carport next to it on the other former property.
Okay. Oh. All right. Thank you.
Well,
Andy,
Yep.
it doesn't require that there be another structure in front of this current carport. It's okay with the city that there's not a structure in front of it. That are these two parcels together?
Yes, they are. They those two lots that you see on the plans were consolidated sometime earlier this year. I'm not sure the exact date.
Okay, I don't care as long as they're together.
Yeah.
And then my other question is, the city is okay. You say it's in keeping, even though it's like 20 feet off of the alley?
Yeah, it's my understanding of the Planning and Urban Design Agency's evaluation of the strategic land use plan elements. It's more so about the general land use practice rather than the specific setback locations and things like that. Their view is more focused on having that parking all in the same area, which would be in the alley for places that have an alley.
Okay, so they're rebuilding the current garage that's there in the same location, and the other one will match it so it lines up together.
Right. Yeah, there'll be, from the rear of the alley, from the rear, they'll appear to be the same. Two garages. One will be a carport. One will be an enclosed garage.
Thank you.
But Mona, your initial question is valid. The former 3312 has no house on it. It's just going to be open from the street all the way to the carport that's being considered.
Right, but because the lots are consolidated, it makes it different.
Okay.
I believe.
All right, thank you. I guess we're ready to proceed, Anthony. At least I am.
okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Good afternoon. This is Mike Killeen I'm the architect for the project.
All right,
Last name.
let's get you sworn in.
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Okay, Mike, if you can give us your name and mailing address for the record.
My name is Mike Killeen, Killeen, and my mailing address is 3015 Salina Street, SALENA Street, St. Louis 63118.
Okay.
And the owner of the property is here too and would like to speak, I think, after me, if that's possible. So I just wanted to address a couple of the questions and issues that were raised and talk about our hardship. So the rebuild of the existing garage, it's actually it's a worn out old garage, probably from the 20s, and it's undersized for today's two-car needs that people seem to have. So but it's got good bones, so that we're going to save it and we're going to re-side it and put new roof shingles on and make it nice and fresh, get a good garage door on there. And so they'll use that I think primarily is, storage space, workshop, and still get one car in there. And so the new carport is to take care of the second car, and I think they might have a golf cart too. So, so just wanted to clarify, it is, kind of a sprucing up what was there. And so Mona brought up the question of, will this align with the existing garage? So it will. So it's lined up pretty closely there. And the reason that this is brought about, and I'm wondering if this is why the existing garage was put in this place, in this location in the first place, is there's a slope at the back of that lot. And so you can imagine building a garage on a sloped area back there will require steps on the inside, or to have the garage be have a sloped floor. So the original garage was put up at the kind of at the top of that little rise at the back. And so we're proposing the same idea here. And the reason we're doing that is the hardship is really that slope and the challenge it gives to mobility. My client, who will speak here in a bit, just had some hip issues, some medical issues. And so what we're, it's difficult to make these old time houses in Benton Park accessible, but boy, if it's easier to get in the door, at least you've gotten over one hurdle. So we're trying to minimize his fall risk, climbing, coming up a steep hill or even stairs within a carport. So that's the reason. It's the land, the slope of the land back there. I mean, it's not terribly steep, but there's a little bit of a rise. So that's why they want to put it there. So that is my testimony. I'd be open to questions.
Board members, any questions?
I got one quick one.
Yes, ma'am.
Mike, does that also eliminate, from a financial point, like not having to excavate it as well? So you don't have to dig it out as much, so you can just, drive up into it better, easier?
Yes. Oh, certainly. That came into, I mean, I know we can't be saying, oh, it's cheaper, right? So, but that's definitely a nice byproduct of this. You don't have to build a retaining and stairs.
Okay.
You do have to build a little bit of a driveway back there, but I think it's probably a little bit of cost saving going this way. So, oh, and something that was brought up earlier, just the visibility of this building from the street. Before we consolidated, that was an issue we couldn't get past, so we had to get the lot consolidated to even put this thing over there, because you can't build an independent accessory building at the back of a lot before you build the main building. So, but since we're consolidated now, it's not an issue, is my understanding. So,
Correct. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay. Thanks,
Anthony,
Mike.
I'm sorry, one other thing. I don't know if the approval letter, we got a letter of support from the neighborhood association. Did that make it to you all?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal?
So Michael, are you out there?
Yes, my name is Michael Meehan.
Hi,
Please
Michael.
raise,
Get used.
sorry. Please
Sorry.
raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, we may begin.
Can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Michael Meehan, Meehan, 3316 Illinois Avenue, St. Louis, 63118.
Okay, proceed.
I just wanted to add that even without my physical hardship, which is I had a right hip replacement, and it looks like soon I'm going to have a left knee replacement done and left hip. Even without this physical hardship, one of the purposes of the zoning restrictions is to conserve the property value. We've been here for 22 years. And we really think that this is going to look a lot less haphazard by having the carport in line with the garage instead of it, the juxtaposition all different and haphazard. So I guess that's about it. Mary, you look like you froze. Right, everybody? No.
Any board members have any questions for Mr. Me? Okay, thank you. Mia.
Right. I don't see a letter from the neighborhood association in this exhibit file. So I just wanted to confirm it before you accept and close out the exhibits.
Sure. Andy?
We do not have a letter of support.
Mike, if you have that, can you email that to Andy now?
Yep.
That is, yeah.
In process. We'll have it there in a jiffy. Okay, so I send that. Andy, what's your email over there?
It's powersa at stlouismo.gov or stlouis-mo.gov. Might have me already. If not, you can send that to the zoning at stlouismo.gov email also.
Zoning at I spell out St. Louis.
Yeah, stlouis-mo.gov.
G-O-V. Okay. Very sorry that we didn't get that to you ahead of time. Thank you for letting me do that. Should be heading your way. You're muted right now, Andy.
Yeah, sorry, I was just conferring with
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies.
It's okay. So we had to go log in on a different device. Just be one moment. Who is this support letter from?
Timothy Mulligan from the Neighborhood Association. So that's an email that was sent to him. It's You can see he's wants a clarification from, I think, Bob Bettis on the question, but he said generally speaking they're good with it. It's not your typical Tim Mulligan letter.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the Oh, I see, at the top. Okay.
at the very top there.
Yeah, the very top. All right, this letter is from Timothy Mulligan. What is his position?
He's the chairman of the Building Review Committee in Benton Park for the Neighborhood Association.
All right. All right, his letter says, Dylan, referring to Dylan Kennedy of Colleen Studio Architects, in consideration of the owner's accessibility, the committee understands and is okay with the setback from the alley by virtue of no home to shield the garage port from the street. We are seeking clarification from Cultural Resource Office. Signed, Timothy Mulligan.
Okay, and Mike, what was the clarification?
Oh, I think they had the same concern that one of your board members had there, is that you could see this thing from the street. So the next step for us would be to go to Bob Bettis and either work with staff or the preservation board to clarify how they'd want that to be seen from the street. But I've talked to Bob about this. The visibility from the street, he made it clear, like, hey, you got to consolidate lots and get that passed. But it wasn't a no-go. It was just like, okay. I assume we'll be talking to him. Maybe he'll want to make sure we put something up in that gable so you can't see the truss. So we'll work out the details with him. After, that board is our next step. So.
Got it. Mr. Meehan.
I think you would have to have a ladder to see it from the front street. There is a big fence, 6-foot fence, and then a long distance before where the building is going to go. So you really and a tree there too. So it is very blocked. You would have to really search for it. You're not going to drive by and see it.
Sure. Any board members have any questions? Okay. Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board.
Anthony, you haven't asked for opposition or additional support.
I'm sorry. You are absolutely correct. Thank you, Jim.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that interruption coffee. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from planning and urban design, and letter emailed by the petitioner, read into the record by Andy. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20643?
Appeal number 20643, 5604 Magnolia Avenue.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to construct a new single-family residence at 5604 South Magnolia Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the city of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis of denial of a building permit concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a permit authorizing the appellant to build at 5604 South Magnolia Ave in St. Louis, Missouri, 63139 in City Block 405.01 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is A, single-family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning code provisions are to prevent additions and alterations or remodeling of existing buildings or structures in such a way as to avoid the limitations lawfully imposed. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follows. Section 26.20.070 side yard. There shall be a side yard of not less than 4 feet of width on one side of a building, and the total width of both side yards shall not be less than 10 feet, provided, however, that lots of record prior to the effective zoning code date having a width of less than 40 feet may reduce the total side yard width by an amount equal to 1/2 the difference between the width of such lot and 40 feet, but in no case shall either side yard be less than 3 feet in width. 26.20.080 rear yard. There shall be a rear yard of not less than 25 feet in depth. Section 26.20.060 front yard. When 25% of any frontage within the district is improved with dwellings, and a majority of such improved frontage has an observed front yard line with a variation in depth of not more than 6 feet, no building hereafter constructed shall project beyond the average front yard line so established, except that in no event shall the front yard line be greater than 50 feet. In all other cases, there shall be a front yard line of not less than 25 feet. Through lots shall have a front yard on each street in accordance with this section. On corner lots, the frontage shall be on that of a street on which interior lots have been platted. No accessory building shall project beyond such front yard line. In summary, the appellant has applied for a building permit to build a single-family dwelling, which does not meet the area requirements for the A district. After issuance of the building commissioner's denial letter, the appellant submitted a revised site plan, which resolved the side yard and front yard non-compliance. However, the rear yard is still non-compliant. 25 feet of rear yard space is required in the A district, and only 9 foot 2 inches of setback is proposed from the primary structure to the rear property line. In total, one area variance is required for consideration for the rear yard setback. And finally, the Planning and Urban Design Agency of the City of St. Louis writes memorandums for Board of Adjustment appeals in order to assist the Zoning Board of Adjustment in executing their duties. Specifically, in the granting of a variance is weighed in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Planning staff has reviewed the appeal 20643 against the 2025 strategic land use plan, the land use element of the comprehensive plan. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. The site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood within the 2025 SLOOP. This designation describes areas that are primarily residential. An explicit goal of the SLOOP is to add density back into neighborhoods and encourage infill development on vacant lots. The SLOOP is generally silent on the setbacks for residential uses. Staff believes the approval of this variance would be in keeping with the goals of the proposed regulations in the SLOOP. Planning staff finds the request of appeal 20643 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Board have any questions for me?
So just again, to repeat, just one area variance is being requested. The side yard and the front yard have already been solved.
Correct. Yeah, I was in communication with the applicant, the architect, and we worked together to resolve the side yard and the front yard issues.
Okay, and what's the rear yard depth? If the requirement's 25 feet, what are they requesting?
9 foot 2 inches.
Thank you.
Any other board members? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Nicholas Baldwin.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Okay, Nicholas, can we get your name and mailing address for the record?
Yes, it's Nicholas Baldwin. My mailing address is 918 Peace Haven Drive, St. Louis, Missouri 63125.
Proceed.
So for the back variance, we're not asking for across the whole back. Actually, about a third to a little more than a third is about 54 feet deep to the back of the building. So the garage area is where we're just asking for there to be a 9-foot variance. And we're trying to take advantage of the side alley that the corner lot sits on to make it desirable to kind of come in off of that side alley.
Board members, any questions?
This is
Yes,
already built. This is already built, correct?
It is not. We have dug we have excavated for the house foundation, but we have not done anything with the garage, and we have not poured the main house foundation yet.
Okay, good to know. What's the hardship in having it 9 feet versus 25?
Well, we are trying to get a majority of the square footage for this house on the first floor to make the building more desirable for people that have mobility issues.
So it's a resale, it's not a build for yourself.
Yeah, correct.
So there's not really a hardship, it's just a want.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board members? Yes, John.
May either the appellant or Andy point me to the 9 foot 2 inch measurement on the drawings?
Sure. I have the plans here.
Sheet 1.
And actually, yeah, if someone else could, this might not be the updated plan I have in front of me. I know I have it online.
Somebody say a sheet number?
Yes, it's C1.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be, I think, probably page 5 of the document. C1
Right.
Site plan, and then South Magnolia would be at the top of the drawing, and then it's actually an alley which connects to a rear alley on the side. So that rear alley, directly across the lot from South Magnolia. That's where that 9'2" setback is.
You see that, Jim?
I'm afraid I don't, Anthony. I'm sorry to be difficult, but I don't see.
So are you on
I'm on
sheet
C1.
Okay, so if you look at do you see where the alley is? So
Yes.
relation, it's right where the title of that that drawing is, where it says site plan.
Okay, I see it now. All right, thank you. I just spotted it while you were speaking. Okay. All right, thank you.
Any of the board members have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. A certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from planning and urban design, an owner statement for building permit issue with zoning hold, a letter of support from Alderman Matt Devotie, and a letter of support from Michelle Hona, President, Southwest Garden Neighborhood Association. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 11993?
Appeal number 11993, 4164 South Grand.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis. Representing the building commissioner, I'm here to present evidence of an appeal of the Board of Public Services an appeal of the Board of Public Service decision in the revocation of a conditional use permit with conditions issued to St. Louis Meat Market LLC, care of Malik Mohammed, located at 4164 South Grand Ave. For this case, I will read the proceedings of the previous Board of Adjustment hearing for this appeal. Subject Board of Adjustment Appeal 11993, 4164 South Grand. Dear J. Kanzler, on January 14th, 2026, the Board of Adjustment of the City of St. Louis met to hear appeal number 11993 pursuant to section 26.84.041 of the zoning code concerning an appeal of the Board of Public Service in the revocation of a conditional use permit with conditions issued to St. Louis Meat Market LLC, care of Malik Mohammed, that authorize the petitioner to operate a convenience store with carry-out food, no liquor, at 4164 South Grand. On January 14th, 2026, Board Member Vaughn made a motion to uphold the decision of the Board of Public Service to revoke a conditional use permit with conditions. Board Member Parsley seconded the motion. The motion failed with a 3-2 vote of the board, with Board Member Klitzing, Board Member Dallas, and Chairman Robinson voting in opposition to the motion. After discussion, Board Member Dallas made a motion to table appeal number 11993 for up to 90 days to allow the petitioner to come into compliance with all the conditions of the conditional use permit. Chairman Robinson seconded the motion. The motion was passed by unanimous vote of the board. The hearing will be rescheduled at a later date. And then finally, Dre Gutierrez has conducted the revocation inspection in respect to this Board of Adjustment hearing.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, we may begin.
Thank you. This case can be referenced by AOP number 2435-18 and BPS number 12755 with 6 conditions. A follow-up investigation was conducted on July 21st, 2026, and the following violations were noted. Condition number 4, there shall be no sale of items that can be used or are intended for use as drug paraphernalia as defined in ordinance number 69404 or its successor ordinance, including but not limited to food scales, glass tubes, disposable lighters with pop-off tops, steel scrubbing pads and screens, rolling papers and ephedrine or pseudoephedrine, diet supplements, sleep aids, bath salts, or other substitutes for illegal drugs. In addition, there shall be no sale of cigars or cigarillos commonly used for or adapted for use involving a controlled substance, examples of which include but are not limited to the following: Phillies, Dutch Masters, White Owl, Swisher Sweets, Spillarillo, Backwoods, Optimo, Garcia and Vega, and Game. On my investigation yesterday, violation, behind the counter there were cigarillos. The brand was Black and Mild, and on the counter in the Zebra Bars container, there were cigarillos. In the case, there was Jazz Total Detox drinks. Behind the counter, there were sleep aids, Advil PM and Tylenol PM. There was also pop-off tops lighters. And in the aisle on the shelf, there was SOS scrubbing pads. And condition number 8, premises will not become a nuisance property pursuant to ordinance number 68535 or its successive ordinances. And the property was issued a nuisance letter on October 24th, 2025. All the signage that was on the exterior of the premises has been removed as shown in the photos, with the exception of what was cited. And all the other drug paraphernalia has been removed as shown in photos. Does the board have any questions? Yes.
Thank you. I'm not sure who this might be for, and I'm not sure if Officer Hine can speak until she's sworn in. Anthony, maybe Mia or Mary would know. The nuisance letter issued October 24th, 2025. Do those have expiration dates on them, or are they withdrawn after further investigation? Just what's the process with the nuisance letter?
I can speak to that. So they're good. They're good for up to 12 months before they need to be renewed. However, they can be relinquished or ceased at any point that the nuisance behavior has been abated. So the attorneys will review it on an ongoing basis throughout that 12 months, but they can end it if they see abatement. So before that 12-month expiration.
Okay, so even if we were to override the BPS decision, the nuisance letter wouldn't necessarily be withdrawn or expire.
Your determination has nothing to do on that process. It's already in play. Okay. So as of right now, it still has that designation.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. When was the letter issued, Mia?
October the 25th of 2025, I believe. I may be off on the date, but give me a second.
Thank you.
It was October the 24th of 25, and that's found on page 24 of
Thank you.
the record.
A lot of pages, thanks.
Any other board members? Okay, let's hear from the appellant. Mr. Kanzler.
Yes, sir. And I have. All right, and I have Mr. Al-Riabi here, but I will start, Your Honor, or Mr. Commissioner.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So thank you, Commissioners. I think everyone will agree.
Mr. Kanzler, I'm sorry. I know you've been here a few times before, but can you state?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And address for the record.
Yeah, it's Jay Kanzler. My address is 2001 South Big Bend, St. Louis, Missouri, 63117. So we were here last time, and I appreciated the board's willingness to continue this. And at the last hearing, there were lots of issues that were raised. Several of them were disputed, but I think one thing is certain now, that the issues that were most concerning to the board have been addressed. And I'll let Mr. Al-Riabi, but I want to bring up a couple of things on the two. Let me start with the nuisance letter. And I think Ms. Wood, and I've worked with Ms. Wood on many things, and I do these nuisance hearings because I represent so many small businesses. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say, there are literally dozens, if not hundreds of businesses under those nuisance letters every year. And we work very hard with Ms. Wood's office and with the city. And we have the meetings, and we, take the suggestions, and we make, modifications. And St. Louis Meat Market is no different. I'm not aware of anything regarding this location that has come of that nuisance letter other than the nuisance letter itself. So I want to address that. That's not, that says that, hey, we're concerned about your property. And if there's, if things don't change, it could happen, something bad could happen in the future, we could shut you down. I've had businesses, some of the best businesses in town, the Crown Marts and others, that have been under nuisance letters every year for as long as I have represented them. They get one every year. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
Jay, I'm going to interrupt you there. Because of the number of police calls and actions that are at that businesses is why those nuisance letters are issued. Please don't try to sweep that under the rug at us.
you're just wrong, okay? You're just
No, I'm
wrong.
not wrong. You think those police department calls are not there? They're of the record.
Yeah, you're just wrong, Ms. Barcy.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not. I am not wrong. The police come and those calls are of record on this right here today.
So the second thing is in terms of the things that are left on the shelves, and I've been working with Mr. Al-Riabi, and I heard some Black and Milds were back there. I heard some Tylenol, some pain, like some pain medications, and I don't think those are the items that anyone's worried about. Those are available all over town, as they should be. They're medicines. They're not being sold in individual packets. They're not being sold, in individual pills. They are simply being sold in the packaging that comes with all of this. So again, I'll let, if you have any questions for Mr. Al-Riabi, but all the signs are gone. The parking lot is clean. I mean, these are, he has done the things that you had requested him. He's worked very hard. He didn't just do it yesterday. This has been the case ever since the 90 days started. And so I would ask you once again to say that if there are certain de minimis or, if there's an individual item that maybe shouldn't be in there, please, let's talk about it. But shutting it down at this point seems unfair given all the work and the progress that has been made.
I have a question. You said that the items that are there are normal items and so forth. But wasn't that part of the original hearing? That wasn't a part of the original agreement that he agreed to not having those things? If he had,
No, see, I think that's where we get into the.
Sir, let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I let you finish.
Yeah,
You let
I'm
me
sorry.
finish. He agreed at that hearing not to have those things. He went ahead and had them. Now, we come back and say you should have them. You go, well, that's everywhere. Unfortunately, he didn't bring that up with the original hearing saying, I want to have those things. We went through the list of things that he said. I'm almost positive they read the list of things that were not supposed to be there. So for you to come down and say, well, but they're normal items, they may be. However, he agreed at the original hearing not to have those.
And I would disagree with you, sir. That Tylenol PM is not a drug paraphernalia. It's not something used for drugs.
I didn't say it was. I said he agreed not to have them.
I don't believe he did.
Actually, that was part of the agreement.
Tylenol?
I don't have the original in front of me, but usually we go through a whole list and we say, if you have a problem with any of these things, please let us know. Blah, 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 blah. The fact that he had a lot of those there had to be called out on it tells you right there that he had disregard for what he had agreed to begin with.
If you have a list of those items or have something, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I don't know if we have.
Mary, you've got your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So a couple of points of clarification for everybody, including you, Mr. Kanzler. Condition 4 does not contain the word Tylenol in it, but Condition 4 does prohibit the sale of the lighters with the pop-off tops and the steel scrubbing pads and screens. And your client was in violation of that when he was before the board on January 14th. And so now we're 6 months later, and he's still apparently in violation of that. Also, I want to remind you that he was here in January 14th. I know you've, as you said yourself, you've worked and represented a lot of small businesses. So you well know that there is a process by which if the applicant can't abide by the conditions, they can appeal to come back to the conditional use hearing and have those conditions changed.
I don't believe, Ms. Hart-Burton, there were any screens or scrubbing pads found.
I think there's a picture of a scrubbing pad.
In the most recent visit?
Yes, in the most recent visit. Yes, sir. Maybe you need a little time to take a closer look at that. There is most certainly, I see pictures of the lighters. I see pictures of SOS steel wool pads.
No. That's the SOS is not a steel wool pad. That's not what is meant by that.
I'm not going to argue with you about something.
SOS is a cleaning device.
Excuse me. I'm not going to argue with you.
The Dutch scrubbies, the copper ones are used for crack.
Somebody please mute him. It says right on the box, it's a steel wool pad. And I believe that you fully know well that's what the condition means.
Anne?
Yes, I just wanted to point out to Mr. Kanzler that it's not helpful. This is an observation. If we're not going to be mutually respectful, to tell somebody to tell a board member or anybody you're wrong, and the tone, I'm hopeful that we can keep a mutually respectful, professional, positive tone to these proceedings. I would request that of you.
He's muted.
There we go. I'm happy to respond. I have the greatest respect for this board, but I am also not treated with respect by certain members of this board, never have been. And so I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the color of the people that I represent. But I just have to say, these are not the items. An SOS scrubbing pad is not what was intended. Everyone knows, ask any of the police officers, it's the pure copper, I think they call them Dutch scrubbies or whatever, that they put inside the crack pipe. You will not smoke crack from an SOS pad because it's got all that other stuff in it.
Mia.
Thank you. Sorry, couldn't get the mute off. Officer Hine, I believe, is still present, and Officer Hine is a part of the nuisance process. And so she would be more equipped to testify into their interactions regarding the nuisance process and whether or not they have complied with the recommendations from that group.
Thank you, Mia. Officer Hine, let's get you sworn in.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find you. There you are. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. We're going to begin.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. State your name and mailing address for the record.
Officer Aaron Hine, 919 North Jefferson.
Okay. Proceed with your testimony.
So I'm going to speak on the nuisance calls of activity for this location. I believe that is one of the conditions of not being on the nuisance list. And they are repeatedly on the nuisance list for a multitude of things. We got fights, disturbances, suspicious activities, drugs, suspicious persons. Since January, there have been an additional over 20 calls for service to that location. So, and I believe you all have a copy of the calls for service. So I can detail a few of those calls for service with verbiage, specifically from that. On 5/9, we had a call for a disturbance, and the call notes state there were over 100 teenagers on the parking lot of the Village 2 store. That was at 11:30 at night. Then we have on 5/20 a fight at the Village 2. Call notes state 4 males fighting with one subject on the side of the building. And then we have another call on 5/20 at 2:35 p.m. to the Village 2. Call notes are see here, 2 males occupying a vehicle. Now they are they're circling the building, and they're on the parking lot saying that they are going to kill her and they have guns. Another one on 5/9, call notes, this is for a fight. Caller stated there are approximately 20 males and females fighting at that location. Somebody got maced. So this is a repeated pattern at this location. These aren't just, simple petty issues. We're hearing the words guns, drugs, fights, 100 plus people on the parking lots. This is routinely, this is what we're getting from this location.
Could I respond?
Just a second, Mona. Mr. Kanzler.
Yeah, so one, it sounds like that was a flash mob or teens take over incident, which has been terrorizing the city for months now. Most of those were right around a certain particular period of time. And I would ask Officer Hine if in 20 calls in 7 months is unusual, I have seen stores with hundreds of calls that are continuing to be open. 20 calls in 7 months is not a lot, and I'm sure she will confirm that.
Officer Hine.
So in response to that, it's not necessarily the amount of calls, it's the nature of the calls. So again, I'll bring it back to the fact that we had fights, disturbances, people mentioning guns. Again, these aren't petty. These aren't people just standing on the lot. These are people with major nefarious intentions.
When 100 people show up on the lot, what do the police do?
It was called in.
And what happened? Did the police address it?
That is not reflected in here.
Okay. Mia.
Officer Hine, has the applicant or the property owner been responsive to your all's engagement and interaction with them?
No.
What have they not done?
So
Are we allowing the cross-examination?
She said
I'm
no, but I don't
asking the
understand.
chairman a question.
I am giving them some leeway on that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so in the meetings, it's always told to everyone to keep in touch with the problem properties team. And make it a weekly thing, email, phone calls, telling us, if you've updated your security, lighting, etc. I have never once gotten an email from any ownership or representative of the ownership at the Village 2.
And I would ask one question if it's okay, Your Honor, or Mr. Commissioner.
Go ahead, Mr. Kanzler.
Have you emailed them?
No, I have many, many properties to look after. It's not my responsibility to email them. They have to update me or the problem properties team.
Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Kanzler,
Yes.
have you advised your client to cooperate with the problem properties unit?
I've advised him to do the things that he's required to do to clean up the property, to take down the signs, to pick up the trash, to have security in place, all of which he has done. Take the gaming machines out.
That wasn't the question.
That's what I've advised him to do.
So the answer to the question is no, you haven't advised your client to cooperate with the problem properties unit.
It was never an issue.
Okay. If you don't think 20 calls for service is not an issue, thank you.
Mr. Kanzler, do you have any additional testimony to offer or
Let me, again,
like to?
sir, yeah, no, I understand. And let me just ask my client if he has anything. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing.
Okay, no, sir.
Okay. Any other board members have any questions? Thank you, Mr. Kanzler.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Hine. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this revocation? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this revocation? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial based on the Board of Public Service decision to revoke conditional use permit, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, copy of the BPS file, copy of investigation report dated January 13th, 2026 by Andrea Gutierrez, lead zoning specialist, acting zoning inspector. Copy of the proceedings from January 14th, 2026. Notification letters for July 22nd, 2026. City Journal public notices for July 22nd, 2026. Photographs for July 22nd, 2026. Sanborn maps for July 22nd, 2026. A copy of the service calls from April 1st, 2025 through January 30th, 2026. Copy of the public nuisance letter. Copy of the service calls from January 1st, 2026 through April 25th, 2026. Copy of follow-up investigation report dated July 22nd, 2026 by Andrea Gutierrez, lead zoning specialist. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, will you please read appeal number 20563?
Appeal number 20563, 2823 North Broadway.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, we may begin.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Andy Powers, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis. I'm representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal of a revocation of variance of a vehicle sales business with towing located at 2823 North Broadway. Originally, it was requested by the applicant to continue this appeal. However, it's my understanding that the applicant is here today to move forward with hearing this appeal today. So I will read the proceedings from the original Board of Adjustment variance hearing. Board of Adjustment Appeal number 20563. Occupancy permit 11416-24, 2823 North Broadway. On January 15th, 2025, the Board of Adjustment of the City of St. Louis met to hear appeal number 20563 pursuant to section 26.84.040 of the zoning code concerning the building commissioner's determination that it would violate the zoning code to expand their current used vehicle sales business and add towing at 2823 North Broadway. Board members Anthony Robinson, Irene Soul, Mona Parsley, George Hitt, and Joe Klitzing were present for this appeal. Katina Stewart testified in favor of this appeal. Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner, testified on behalf of the building commissioner. The conclusion of law and order. The petitioner has appealed to the building commissioner's refusal to issue an occupancy permit to expand their current used vehicle sales business and add towing located at 2823 North Broadway. The proposed occupancy permit is in conflict with ordinance number 67390, North Broadway Vicinity Commercial Areas Special Use District, Section 7, letters F and I, vehicular related business operations within the special use district boundaries. Therefore, a use variance is needed prior to approval. An applicant for a use variance must prove, 1, the relief is necessary because of the unique character of the property rather than for personal considerations. And 2, applying the strict letter of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. 3, imposition of such a hardship is not necessary for the preservation of the plan. And 4, granting of the variance will result in substantial justice to all. Based on the testimony of the petitioner, the board finds that the petitioner has presented credible evidence that carrying out the strict letter of the zoning code would result in an undue hardship or practical difficulty, therefore granting a use variance to expand their current used vehicle sales business and add towing at 2823 North Broadway as conditioned will not be a detriment to the neighborhood. The board therefore grants a use variance to expand their current used vehicle sales businesses and add towing at 2823 North Broadway. The board also concludes the granting of the variance is in accordance with the spirit of the code, that it secures the public safety and welfare of the community, and that it will result in substantial justice for all. There were 18 conditions subject to this variance. Subsequently, there was a revocation hearing or revocation investigation conducted on June 22nd, 2026. So I will read the notification of revocation that was sent to Katrina Stewart. After inspection of the premises on June 22nd, 2026, it has been determined that you are in violation of the subject variance. Specifically, on the date of the inspection, it was shown that you were in violation of the following conditions. Condition number 2, tow trucks shall be parked behind the site-proof fence. Condition 3, the entire vehicle parking display, entire vehicle parking/vehicle display area on the exterior of the premises shall be paved and striped. Parking area shall be striped as to substantially conform to the width and depth layout standards for parking spaces as provided for in section 26.16.080, letter D of the zoning code. The parking spaces shall be arranged in a manner as to provide easy access to vehicles on the lot. Parking space layout shall be submitted to and approved by the zoning administrator before beginning striping. Condition number 4, all parking spaces established on the east, west, north, south property lines shall be proved with wheel stops or bollards shall be installed along the east, west, north, and south property line as to prohibit vehicles on lot from encroaching into the public sidewalk. These improvements shall not be installed until approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. Appellant shall have 45 calendar days from the effective date of this mailing, of this decision to comply with the provisions of condition number 1. Condition number 5. Vehicles owned by appellant are prohibited from being parked on or sold on public streets, alleys, or sidewalks adjacent. Condition number 9. There shall be no exterior signage installed on the premises until separate approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. This shall include mobile commander boards and balloons on tethers. Condition 11. The existing building on the premises, if any, shall be completely repaired and restored pursuant to all applicable zoning and building codes. These improvements shall not be installed until approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. Condition 12. There shall be no storage of derelict or salvaged vehicles permitted on subject premises or on public streets, alleys, or sidewalks adjacent to this location. Condition 14. There shall be no open storage of auto, mechanical, or body parts, batteries, tires, motor oil, or other automotive fluids, or refuse of any nature on the subject premises or on public streets, alleys, or sidewalks adjacent to this location. Condition 15. There shall be no salvage of parts from vehicles on subject premises. As provided for in section 26.100.040 of the 1994 revised code of the city of St. Louis, there will be a public hearing before the Board of Adjustment on Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. via online viewing or telephone. to consider the revocation of subject variance and occupancy permit. And then instructions for the rest of the meeting are the remainder of the letter signed, Mary Hart Burton, zoning administrator. And I believe Dre Gutierrez also has the revocation results.
Sorry, I was having a hard time unmuting. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, we may begin.
Hi, this case can be referenced by AOP number 11416-24 with 18 conditions. A follow-up investigation was conducted on July 21st, 2026, and the following violations were noted. Condition number 2, the tow truck shall be parked behind the site-proof fence. Violation, the tow truck is visible on North Broadway and Wright Street. Condition number 4, all parking spaces established on the east, west, north, south property lines shall be provided with real stops or bollards shall be installed along the east, west, north, and south property line so as to prohibit vehicles on lots from encroaching into the public sidewalk. These improvements shall not be installed until approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. Appellant shall have 45 calendar days from the date of this mailing of this decision to comply with the provision of this condition number 1. Violation, while I did not see any vehicles that were for sale, there were no wheel stops or bollards installed. Condition number 9, there shall be no exterior signage installed on the premises until separate approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. This shall include mobile commander boards and balloons on tethers. There is no sign permit for the TNT auto sign on top of the structure that's on the premises. I'd like to make a note that while the mentioned conditions are still in violation, the business owner has really made a great improvement on the property. There are no derelict vehicles on the streets or behind the property as seen in the July 22nd, 2026 investigation. And there is no longer the odor of gas, motor oils, etc. around the property. Does the board have any questions?
Jim.
So an investigation was conducted on June 22nd and then again on July 21st.
Yes.
And there was a number, like I think 18 conditions listed on the June 22nd.
He was granted 18 conditions total, and there was 9 conditions that were in violation on June 22nd. When I went back on the 21st, there's only 3 of them.
And then your investigation on July 21st, it's down to 3 out of those.
Yes.
18. Okay, thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
How you doing? This is Marvis Joy, owner of TNT Auto Center, address 2825 North Broadway, St. Louis, Missouri, 63147.
Okay.
Mr. Marvis,
get you sworn in.
I'm sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great, we may begin.
Okay, so Mr. Joy, I need you to repeat what you just said.
Okay. I'm Marvis Joy, owner of TNT Auto Center, 2825 North Broadway, St. Louis, Missouri, 63147.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, so when we initially 7 or 8 years ago got approved for a dealership there, we poured a 6-inch concrete lip around the asphalt. And I believe that's in the same thing as ballards. Basically, it prevents a car from rolling off the lot, and it's still there, it's still intact. the property's always been asphalted. There's always been designated parking spots for all the vehicles we buy or sell there. Sometimes the tow trucks, we never park our trucks outside the gate at night, but if we have a driver that just come back in, we don't open up the gate just to let him back in the park when he can just park on the public street waiting on his next call for a tow. So uh they're never left out there because these are expensive trucks and we won't leave them out in North Broadway at night. And we just sometimes our drivers just need time to just sit and um get the information for the next vehicle they're going to be picking up or whatnot. The sign on top of our roof was approved by the city of St. Louis 8, 9 years ago when we opened up uh, for our dealership, and it's been the same sign that's been up there ever since. So I don't know if it's just something that you guys can't see, and I'm hoping that we can dig it up to see that we followed the procedure, the right size signage, all the verbiage or everything that needed to take place for us to have that sign. But we did get it approved through St. Louis City, and that's why we have it on our roof. But we're doing everything we can to try to make sure we have no problem with the city of St. Louis. And I hope you guys can see that just in a couple of days that we kind of righted every wrong that we were doing before. So I appreciate the time.
Mona.
Sir, is your lot striped?
It is striped. It's been striped since.
Let me finish.
Mhm.
Did you get the striping approved with the City of St. Louis zoning department? Because that is a condition specifically.
Yes, ma'am. So basically, the conditions of the striping was all in the blueprints that we submitted to the St. Louis city. And when we first opened, like 7 or 8 years ago, and the striping was on there, and it's still intact. It's a little faded, but it's still intact.
You are testified that you park your tow truck on the street. Explain that a little bit better to me, please.
Well, I'm not testifying that we leave them on the street. So if we have a truck like on Wright Street or on North Broadway, that's just because our drivers are pretty much heading out to another tow. So we don't just pull them back in the yard. And
Why?
because we have a small yard. If you look at our yard, it's not, our tow trucks our bed is 20 feet long and so 26 feet long, and then we have 3 of them. So it's tight in there when we have them all in there. So if they go on a tow and pick up a car, and then just say they have 30 minutes of downtime, we just don't pull them back in the yard because they're going to be leaving shortly to pick up another car. So at night and when everything's wrapped up, we pull them all in the yard and we don't leave them on the street at all.
So you park them on the street in between your jobs.
Yes, but we don't leave them on the street because there's always the driver is in the truck. So, it's like we can.
He's
So,
always in the truck. He doesn't get out and go to have a sandwich or a cup of coffee.
well, our drivers if they have to go eat or something, they're going to take the truck. So a lot of times with the towing industry, you'll see like a lot of trucks lingering around like Quick Trips or, Walmarts or something. They're just sitting around waiting for their next call. They're not sitting there just to waste time. They don't have anything to do at the time. So they're just waiting, they're pretty much on pause, waiting for somebody to call them or whatnot. And we like to be more responsive when somebody does call us. So we have dogs at our yard also. So if we can't leave the gate wide open, because they'll run out. And so we just try to keep them in and the trucks out until it's time for everybody to go home. And then we park everything in. But the trucks are always moving. They're not just sitting there for days on time or anything like that. Not even more than an hour.
Second question.
Mm-hmm.
You said you poured a 6-inch lip around your entire parking area.
Yep, with the blueprints we submitted, everything was approved, and that's how we got our dealer's license because they needed that in place for us to get that. So yeah, we have a 6-inch lip around the whole property, except for the 2 openings, and the 1 opening we actually added, and it was approved by the St. Louis City. It was an apron we put down on actually the North Broadway side. It's an opening we really don't use that much, but we needed it to get everything approved, and we put a 6-inch lip like 8 years ago around the whole property so cars can't roll off or wander into the street or whatnot.
Roll off, can't drive over that? Can a car or a truck drive over that 6-inch lip?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can. It's not going to be able to drive too much farther after that, but I'm thinking that the whole Ballard thing is for a car just not to be like left in neutral and to be rolled off, not with acceleration behind it. Anything can roll over it, but it's going to it's going to destroy the whole car if it does.
Okay, understood. Are you doing any type of salvage on the lot?
So basically, a lot of the cars that we impound, it's kind of like St. Louis City too. After 30, 45 days, we can't find the owner. We try to get rid of the cars. And the best way we found to get rid of the cars and make the most profit is to sell them to like Grossman, or it's Advantage Steel now, or SA Metals or something like that. So we do like take the aluminum wheels off and we take the battery out, and we have to follow their program just to be able to send those cars into them. But it's not an ongoing thing anymore in St. Louis for us.
Is that a yes or no answer?
It's a yes.
Yes, you do salvage?
Yes, we did do salvage, but not anymore.
Okay. What about the pictures that were provided to us showing that you were using a forklift to move cars? Those cars look to me like they were on public streets. Can you explain that to me, please?
Yeah, so we store them up at a sublot that we have in Granite City, Illinois, and when people don't come and claim their cars, we bring them over to St. Louis to process them. But we decided now, since with all the violations that we had, we're just going to leave them in Illinois and do the processing over there. So we did do that before, but we're not going to do it foregoing after this.
So you were parking them on the city streets and moving them around with the forklift?
We were, yeah.
Do you understand your conditions to operate under, sir?
I did know it at the time, but I do now.
You didn't know it when those conditions were read to you? Because we read them to everyone out loud. And then, let me finish, and then we mail them to you. So you have them in writing, and you didn't understand that?
Well, I don't read everything that I get mailed to me. I'm a business owner. I'm sorry. I use other avenues for that, and it's no fault to them that I should have known the conditions.
We read them to you.
I'm sorry.
We did read them to you out loud and asked you a specific question. Do you have any problems with any of these conditions so we can talk about them now?
Okay. So you're saying in the hearing that you read them to us?
Yeah.
But I didn't attend that hearing. So yeah,
Who attended that hearing for you if it wasn't you?
I believe you saying her name is Katrina, but it's actually Katina Stewart, and that's my wife.
Oh, okay. So she doesn't help you with the mail when it comes in?
She does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is she here today?
She's not.
Oh, okay. And so we gave you these conditions. We read them to you out loud. We mailed them to your place of business. And you guys ignored it. Didn't work under those conditions. And we've given you a revocation hearing. And then we gave you an extension of that so that you could come into compliance. Would that be correct?
I believe so.
And we still have some conditions that haven't been met. Is that correct too?
What conditions are you referring to?
I think Dre read them to you.
And that was the concrete ballards that we actually have.
No, you don't have concrete bollards. You chose a different route rather than calling and asking for that to be changed.
Well, no, it was approved 8 years ago, so I didn't know we had to change something that was already approved by the city of St. Louis, along with
The
the
city of
signage.
St. Louis told you we wanted bollards and you chose a different direction. The city can approve anything, but you chose not to do what the Board of Adjustment asked you to do to operate.
Well, so when they originally told us when we built TNT, they said the ballards, if you're referring to those, like what you see at Walmart to keep cars from running into each other, I believe that's what they are. When we put the 6-inch lip and it was approved with the architecture, with the blueprints that we have, we were like, these are way, so we went to, in my eyes, we went above and beyond ballards, because that's like 4 inches, maybe 3.5 inches. We went a 6-inch lip around the whole property. So it was like it was overkill
So
to
you
make sure.
thought that you would do something different than what the Board of Adjustment asked you to do in order to gain a variance to operate your business. You chose to do something different from what we required you to do. The building department can give you an approval for things, but that does not mean that you can do that and skate a different direction than what the Board of Adjustment asked you to do in order to meet the requirements we mandated so that you could operate your business under a variance. Do you understand what a variance is, sir?
Could you please explain it to me?
A variance is your zoning does not meet what you want to do with your property. You come to the Board of Adjustments and ask for a variance so that you can do what you want at that location. And we said, yes, you can if you do the following things. And you chose to do it differently than what we required. I'm not saying that we might not have said, okay, yeah, you can do it like that. But what you have to do is come back and ask for a change of conditions. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have changed it for you. You didn't ask.
Noted.
You went to the building department and you said, I want to do this. And they said, oh, sure, we'll give you a permit for that. But you didn't ask the Board of Adjustments, which is required. Does that make sense?
Makes perfectly sense.
Okay. Just wanting to explain that to you, sir.
Yeah. So we can definitely put those ballards up, and we can remove I mean, I wouldn't want to remove the 6-inch concrete, but no.
Right. And you could come and ask for that to be changed.
Gotcha. So yeah, it was just a little confusion with us when
Because you didn't read your conditions.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got Mary and
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
let's start with Mary.
Just a couple of points for the board and also for Mr. Joy also. As I look in the system, there is no record of a sign permit at this address. So if you have something that you believe to be a sign permit and you'd like to send that to us, we'll be happy to look at it. Also, I also want to clear something else up. So, Mr. Joy, your variance, I believe, was granted on January 15th of 2025 that resulted in these 18 conditions. When I look back in the system, there is only one building permit that has anything to do with a parking lot at this address. It's paving a parking lot, and that was granted in October of 2017. But you didn't come to this board until 2025. So there's just no way possible that that permit can be covering what you were required to do in 2025 because you hadn't been here yet to get a variance. With all that aside, please take a look at your variance and read your conditions, because your conditions very specifically say that the parking lot has to be striped and paved and provide ballards. Also, condition number 2 says the tow truck shall be parked behind a site-proof fence. So, that very clearly implies on the private property, not the public street.
Understood.
Thank you.
Mia.
So the question that I had, is there 2 businesses operating at this location? So like, was the first use the auto sales, and was that a use by right? Or did they go? And I'm just trying to understand because he keeps saying 2 different timelines. And so I'm curious to know, are there 2 separate businesses operating at this location and the conditions were put on one use and not the other? Could that be why there's confusion here?
I believe so. So when we opened up,
I'm sorry. That was a question for the zoning
oh,
staff. I
I'm sorry.
apologize.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's going to take me just a second because we have 2 different systems, so I need to check everything. Oh, shoot.
And I'm taking this from the June 22nd opening that says that it was to expand their current used vehicle sales business and add towing.
The first use would have been here for a variance because you don't come back to expand a variance unless you already have one. So that is answered. So there are only, the last building permit that was issued here was in 11/21 of 17. And that was to anchor a trailer to existing ground. And that has, application was made by Katina Stewart. The next application is the application from October of 2017 for paving a parking lot per plans.
Mary, I just wanted to verify. So the language of the proceedings from the 2025 hearing, it says that they're seeking to expand the business, not necessarily the variance. That's my
That
understanding.
is an expansion of the variance when you expand the business.
Right. So they were already operating under a variance, is what you're saying?
Correct. Yes, I'm trying to find that variance now. But I'm just gonna have to look in a few different places. It's gonna take a bit, so. Let's see. So just something to note, even though the parcel is zoned K unrestricted, it's in the North Broadway Special Use District, which doesn't allow for any new or expanded auto-related type uses. So that's what kept sending them back to the Board of Adjustment. Now it looks like in 2017, in November of 2017, there was an occupancy permit for automobile sales used, no repair.
Is that appeal number on there?
No. Let me get to another screen. It might be on there.
Well, looks like Dre was able to find it. It's appeal 20131.
Yes. And that was on 2/7/18 was the hearing date. And that was had several conditions placed upon it. Let's see. So that would have still been after the date of the parking lot plans. So there is an occupancy permit that has several conditions placed on it for automobile sales used with no repair. And then the next occupancy permit is the one that we're considering right now, which was from 2024.
So does the conditions that were issued in 25 supersede the ones that were issued in 2018, or are they in combination because of because they expanded their business operation?
So that both sets of conditions apply to them. So nothing's been revoked at this point, so the conditions apply to that property, of which there are a few that just are not met.
And I've gotten a bit confused with all these conditions. How many have not been met? Can we review that again, please? I apologize.
Dre?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Could you review your site visit report, Mona, once a refresher on the conditions that were not met?
It was the condition number 2, the tow truck shall be parked behind the site-proof fence. Condition number 4, all the parking spaces established on the east, west, north, and south property lines shall be paved with real stops or bollards shall be installed along the east, west, north, and south property lines so as to prohibit vehicles on the lot from encroaching into the public sidewalk. These improvements shall not be installed until approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. The appellant shall have 45 calendar days from the date of the mailing of this decision to comply with the provisions of this condition, number 1. And then condition number 9, there shall be no exterior signage installed on premises until separate approvals and permits are received from all appropriate city agencies. This shall include mobile commander boards and balloons on tethers. But I want to let the board, everyone know that the proceedings from January 15, 2025, page 4 reads, the board also orders the following conditions shall be attached to the variance and that their current conditions shall remain attached to the variance. There was about 15 on the first one, and now there is 18 on this one.
Thank you so much, Dre. I just want to make sure I had it right, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't screw it up. Thank you.
You're welcome. I believe at that hearing in January of 2025, Evan read the previous conditions from that appeal, that other.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
Okay. So looking at the previous conditions from 2018, and one of them being that all cars should be operable, there should be no salvage vehicles on the premise, and those conditions are still in place. So is there potential here that we have more violations than what's already been listed because the other conditions are also still applicable?
Mary?
And I'm really asking that because the first set that was highlighted in our packet are only the ones from the 25 board hearing, but there's additional 15 from 2018.
Correct.
That I don't know which ones are still applicable and which ones are not, are overridden by their expanding their use of the towing. And I know you said that they would be existing, but he acknowledged that he did do salvage and that we can see in the photos that there are salvage vehicles at their location. So is that an additional violation or no?
So all the original conditions, as it was stated in the proceedings that Dre just read, are still attached to that property, including the new ones. I cannot tell you without a doubt if there are additional conditions, but the board can table this and we can go out and do a site visit to see if those conditions are in compliance.
I have one clarifying question, I think, for Dre or Mary. Does this review go all the way from Broadway along Wright Street all the way up to the alley? Or is it just the parcel that stops about halfway up the block?
It's the parcel that stops halfway, because behind it is the hotel. There's a hotel behind it.
Well, there's the reason I'm asking, if I was looking at the address, there's an 812 and an 812 Wright Street that's owned by TNT Auto, and there's also a 2819 that's owned by TNT Auto. So when we say
23 North Broadway.
Right, but when we say 2820, are we including all four of those parcels?
No, it's only 28.
Yeah,
Okay,
the variance only applies to the address that was applied for. So they could be operating on a lot that they don't have permission to operate on.
Okay, I'm having a hard time seeing where bollards are missing. There's a fence around all of 2823.
And he testified that he put a 6-inch cement slab around it in place of the bollards.
In 2017.
In 2017.
Okay.
And in the condition for us to open up our dealership, you have to have a sign that describes the dealership with a phone number on top, and that's why we got approved to get our dealer's license because the sign was in place.
But there is no sign permit on file
It should be
that
one.
I can find. But if you have a copy and send it to us, that would resolve this.
I definitely will try to get that to you. And then the tow trucks that you might see parked on the street, it's another business next door to us also that have tow trucks. If they're not brand new and they don't say TNT on it, then they're not ours.
Good to know. All of your tow trucks have TNT on them, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
That's good to know. It's nice branding.
Thank you.
So it does look like from the pictures that were taken on 6/22 that you are doing some type of salvage on the yard.
We were, but we
Has all
thought,
of that stopped? And you
yes,
don't have any derelict cars on the lot at this time, sir?
not at all. Everything's gone. Everything has been moved to another location in Illinois.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Joy.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here to testify
In support?
in support?
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. In support of the revocation is what?
Or actually, yeah, I was trying to get that. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to the revocation? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in favor of the revocation? Hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, copy of the email with attachments that started the revocation, basis for revocation reported by Acting Zoning Inspector Andrea Gutierrez, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notice, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo, copy of the original Board of Adjustment file, copy of email requesting a continuance submitted by petitioner, and a copy of follow-up investigation reported by Acting Zoning Inspector Andrea Gutierrez, dated July 21st, 2026. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. And with that, that concludes the testimonial portion of the hearing. We will now go into deliberations. Thank you, Devin, for your service. Or shall we
Take
continue?
care.
Thank you.
Off record at 4:02 p.m.
Or take a 5-minute recess. And you're muted. Is that a continue?
I need a 5-minute break.
I'd like a
Okay.
recess.
Okay, 4:02, we will come back at 4:07.
Thank you.
Okay, Everybody ready?
Yes.
Appeal number 20641, 4405 Norfolk Avenue.
Okay, so that's the new construction.
Yes.
Yes.
New
It had
construction.
4 areas and 1 use.
Yes.
Yes.
So I felt like we could get rid of 2 areas and they didn't need that. I don't know what other people thought.
So are you talking about the 2 area variances in regard to like the materials and the plane breaks?
Yep.
Okay, so that's fine. I just want to remind you that that would mean they would have to submit revised drawings and then
Okay.
we do another review. Okay.
Do
I don't
another
know what other
review.
people thought.
Can't hear when 5 people are speaking at the same time. What's
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
I was reacting to it's another review, so we're talking months away and scheduling and all.
Well, it depends. They would have to provide us a revised set of plans, so they'd have to do an addendum to their building permit. And then as soon as that building permit comes in, I'll assign it. And, if they resolve variances, that's not going to send them back to the Board of Adjustment.
Okay. I was also trying to keep in mind the comments from Ms. Jane at the end and how that I think we all might be a little concerned about what Ms. Jane was saying about the condition of the property. So if we do not delay things, but if things are pushed back, that would give her a chance to try to address things with Ms. Jane and the other neighbors.
I did not see, I believe that I heard Miss Jane's complaint being about, they bulldoze down trees and push them to the back of the lot. I could not for certain tell that those trees were still there in the pictures. I don't know if anybody else could. In the pictures, to me, it looked like it was a vacant lot that had been mowed, and I couldn't see anything at the back of the lot by the alley, but it could have just been the angle of the picture.
I couldn't see it either, but could we address it as a condition?
I thought her testimony was they removed the rubble from the front off like the overgrowth and they essentially buried it with the demolition. And in the midst of doing the demolition, they knocked over the trash cans. So I think that's what she was.
So that maybe that's why I couldn't see it then.
Yes.
Okay.
I think she was
really-
implying that they took their debris and they just buried it with their demo. And in the midst of doing such, they knocked over trash cans, and that was her complaint.
Okay, so we can certainly put a condition on there about, the trash can. I think it's a fairly common practice for debris to be buried in holes in the city. So I know that's certainly nothing that violates the zoning code, although I don't know if that violates anything about the building code.
I kind of heard it differently.
Oh,
and I might not be right. I heard it as they took all the debris and shoved it at the back of the lot. And in the process, it's still there and knocked over the dumpster.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but I don't see that in the photo.
That's what I thought I heard. But again, I couldn't see in the photo. I went immediately to the photo to see, oh my gosh, did we capture that? But I could not tell from looking at the photo. Maybe they did do that. Maybe they've cleaned it up now. I don't know.
I couldn't tell it in the photo either, so I couldn't tell. I thought we could probably condition it in a sense if it were there, and if it wasn't, it wouldn't make a difference if we put a condition there to say blah blah blah.
Go
I
ahead,
think
Mel.
you could put a condition that,
Finish it. Go ahead.
since the question is, we're just not sure if Miss Jane's complaint is actually still there or not. I think you could put a condition on there that the lot must remain free from trash, debris of any sort. You know, you could probably even say, particularly at the rear of the lot, adjacent to the alley.
What's that?
I like that.
My question.
But Mia doesn't look happy, so is there anything wrong with that condition?
No.
Mia.
No. This is how I look when I read my emails. I apologize.
I'm like, oh boy, I said something she doesn't like. So.
No, these are the emails trying to understand. But I did have a question about this one, more so just from my understanding, because when I reviewed the documents, they don't necessarily align. If this is one use and 3 area variances or 4 area variances, because I think at one point testimony said 4, and it indicated that was because Cultural Resources had discovered or indicated that was 3.
Right. That's because form-based districts are a joint review by the zoning office and the cultural resources office. So we write up what we're denying on what is known in the form-based code as the development standards. And then cultural resources writes up anything that is in violation of the building envelope standard. No, did I get that wrong?
Yeah.
Different set of standards. So zoning's looking at one thing. We're looking at more of the placement of the structure on the site. Cultural resources is looking at the materials used, the height, and the finished floor ceiling thing. So I have in my notes that it was 1 use variance and 4 area variances. Is that correct? Andy was probably the best position to verify that for us.
So yeah, that's correct. And I know Mia is referring to the documents. So in the denial letter, 2 code sections were referenced for area variances. Initially, that wasn't included in the denial because of the use variance. And it was, it was my understanding at the time that the fact that this building type wasn't allowed sort of implied that it wouldn't meet the other standards typical of that form-based zoning district. I thought it was important, based on the use. I thought it was pertinent to the actual code interpretation to include those building envelope standards. So that's why I added the other 2 in my testimony.
Okay. Here's my thought. We give her the use variance for the single family home. We give the setback to be in line with the other single family homes. We don't give her the exterior, what do they call that? Material plane break for was it the front and the side, Andy?
It was just the side. Yeah.
The what?
It's the side.
Okay, the side. And then there's still 2 more. One of them was the ceiling height.
Wasn't there,
Open for discussion on that.
wasn't there something about the material they were using?
Right. We don't give her that. I'm not in agreement with the vinyl siding.
No, not at all.
And then we give her everything, the other 2.
Oh, we'll give her we give her the ceiling height exception. I think 12 feet for a house is not necessary. And then the setback.
Right. That would be my thought. I'm open for discussion.
I'm in agreement, Mona.
Sir?
I said I'm in agreement. Ceiling height and the
Mia's got
front
a thought.
setback.
Mia?
So I just had a question. What is the unnecessary? So like if we're going to separate the use and the variance, before we can get to the variance talk, what is your unnecessary hardship for the use variance? That would help me in drafting.
The unnecessary hardship is there's really not enough room in that little bitty lot to make that commercial. Is my thought. That's a normal residential size lot. And to put a commercial building, in my opinion, in the middle of that residential lot doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because now you're pulling that building all the way up to the curb and making that a commercial building. And I just don't think that's highest and best use as the realtor on the board. And I wouldn't want to be living next door to it. Mary?
Oh,
Thought?
I was just gonna say, if this is your motion, before you guys vote on it, I'd kind of play out how this would work out.
Help us.
If you made a motion to grant the use variance and then the two area variances involving the setback and the ceiling height, but you said you must meet the code, we're not going to grant your variance on the plane break and the material, then
No, we are.
No. Oh, no, I have this no, that's not what I wrote down, and that's not what you said. So let me make
That's the opposite of what we were doing.
I wrote down that you were going to grant the use variance,
Yes.
the setback, and the ceiling height.
No.
You're not going to, no, that, oh, maybe you didn't understand then, but that's what you said.
Okay. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Let me back it up then.
So,
The
and then
setback, yes.
Okay.
And no to the material.
Okay.
Help me. No to the material.
I have
yes
written
to the setback.
Thought we were going to let them have their ceiling height.
Yeah.
No
and
to the ceiling height.
That was a no to the ceiling height?
Yeah, we don't need them to do a 12-foot ceiling height on a residential.
asking for a variance not to do one.
So they're asking for it, so
yes
we
to
would
that.
have to give them the variance for that. I
Yeah.
think that's where you were.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm not making good sense, Mary.
That's okay. I think, listen to what I have written down here, and I think this is what you meant, that you
Okay.
wanted to grant the use variance because it doesn't make sense to force people to do commercial on this size of a lot. You want to grant the setback variance because now they'll be in line with all the other buildings that incidentally all of those houses got variances too granted by this board. And then you want to grant the ceiling height because the code is requiring it to be 12 feet and they would like to do, I believe she said 10
Yes,
feet on the first floor, 9 feet on the second and the basement.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that you want to say, no, you're going to have to meet the code when it comes to the plane breaks and the materials.
Yes.
So what that would mean if on this decision is they would have to send us a revised set of plans, and they would have to show, they can show the setback in the ceiling exactly how they are now because you've granted that variance. But on those new plans, they would have to show the materials that are required under the phone-based code and the plane break. And as long as they showed those and they didn't change anything else that created any variances we didn't talk about, we would be free to approve that. But if just so you know, if they don't do this, then they're back to the Board of Adjustment again.
Okay.
Okay. So
that's my motion.
Condition. What was the condition that we threw out earlier about cleaning up the property, make sure the property?
Oh, and we need to add that. Yes, thank you, Jim. Sorry,
Okay.
Mary, we're adding a condition.
So the property, like, what is that condition like?
That condition is that the the developer needs to maintain the property in a clean and orderly environment. Clean up the dumpster area that they created. I don't know, help me. No, I'm open to some suggestions.
Well,
And
I
not
do
be
have
a nuisance. No. To the
I do have a
neighbors.
concern that she was not on the line to hear Miss Jane's complaint. So I just wonder if she even knows that Miss Jane had a complaint to begin with. So she might be blindsided by this condition.
I don't care.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So Mona, here's kind of a paraphrase. You tell me if I get it right.
Okay.
The developer must maintain the lot in a clean and orderly environment, including the dumpster area along the alley. Does that capture what you meant, or I'm totally open to editing it if it doesn't?
It does capture it.
Did I miss
Not
something?
allowed to maintain piles of debris on the lot.
So a second,
Like the mountain in Soulard?
That's getting cleaned up, Mary. I can talk to you about that. I talked to the developer today.
Yeah, after he got cited by a building inspector and got condemned, but
And some additional stuff.
so a second condition to not allow piles of debris on the site.
Yes, sir. And at the alley. We're trying to assist Miss Jane here. I appreciated her coming to the board.
I zoomed in on the picture that was on the report, and it looks like it's pretty clean right now. So I think we can be comfortable that this will be adhered to.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that, Jim. So that's my motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, before we continue, Mia has her hand raised.
Uh-oh.
And I just have a question. So in the instance that, let's say, a neighbor complains, after construction is done, how would this revocation hearing or process go? And is there really any teeth there for the zoning? Like, what would be the outcome?
New house would be built.
You referring more to the trash?
The condition. Yeah, the debris, all that.
You brought up a good point, Mia, because I think while it's under construction, you're saying they should not be leaving debris, but the issue here is once construction's done, there shouldn't be debris.
So
and at the
fix.
point that someone else purchases the home, that condition now still
Runs with the
sits with
land.
them when it's really about just during the construction period.
That's an easy fix. We just remove the first word developer and say the site or the lot must be maintained. And that means everybody has to maintain it. The developer, the construction people, the future homeowner. I think the hope there, or I think the intent of Mona's condition was that we want the developer to keep it in good shape. We're banking on the fact that when somebody invests and buys the home, that the homeowner will keep it in good shape. But if it makes you feel better to just say the lot must remain and blah, 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 then I would say that applies to anyone. It would apply to the developer or the future homeowner.
No, I guess I'm just saying, like, what would be the penalty? Like, you revoke their variance, okay, but the house is already constructed and they already paid for it, they bought it, they're living there. What now?
To revoke their variance, they would lose their occupancy permit.
and they could never reside in that home. And so
That
it
would be a
was,
mean thing to do, but that's what
Well,
would
we do a revocation hearing and give them an opportunity to clean up the lot. Or we could reword it and say during construction.
How about
Would
this?
that work?
you all just gave me a tool that can help me in problem properties. I'm just happy to know that I can put conditions on residential structures. We can get compliance across the city together as a team. I like this. I just wanted to see what would be the outcome. That's all.
Right.
Can you put,
Oh,
can you put it this
you're
way?
welcome.
Bill's trying to speak.
How about just saying that upon completion of the project, all construction and debris must be removed from the property?
Sounds
I
good to
think-
me, Mel.
Sorry? All construction and debris must be removed from the property by the construction company. Because you're gonna have to get an occupancy permit before occupancy permits are issued. So before occupancy permits can be issued, all construction and debris must be removed from the property.
The problem I see with that is sometimes properties don't get finished.
Well, what are you gonna do with it if they didn't get finished? They're gonna walk away from it anyway, Mona. You know, I have to take best case scenario. I got somebody that's gonna finish the project all the way through. If they walk away from it, me coming along with a piece of paper saying, you didn't do this, they're gonna go, yeah, so what? I'm walking away with the property anyway.
What I have to wonder about knowing where this is and the neighborhood that is often here at the Board of Adjustment when there are items on there is if this was really as big of a problem as Miss Jane has led us to believe, you know, I'm wondering if it was a one-time thing and it's just something that really irks her. But I sort of feel like Park Central would be here if it was an ongoing thing.
I do too.
That's just my thought, but I don't get a vote.
Abdul no longer works there.
Hmm?
Abdul is no longer with Park Central.
Really?
Yeah, I knew that, but
I
there's
didn't.
a lot
I did not know that.
there's a lot of people in that neighborhood that keep their eye on what's going on. So
Okay.
that's, you know, like I said, I don't get a vote. It's just something I wondered about. It's like, wow, I'm surprised we didn't hear from anybody else if this was a ongoing problem at this site.
True.
So if you just make it all construction and debris must be removed, they're not going to get an occupancy permit. And if it's a developer, he's going to want to get an occupancy permits to get them in right away anyway. Or at least to get it on the market.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to sell the house with debris all over the
You're
site.
right.
So
Nobody's gonna buy that.
Prior to, upon completion, all debris, construction and debris and all construction material and debris must be removed from the lot prior upon completion of the project.
So I think a better way of putting that is from now and during construction, debris should be cleaned from the lot.
Yeah. I'm open to any suggestion there.
So that does not tie that to the lot after construction is completed.
Okay.
Mona has to be okay with that.
Yes. Can I read back what I think?
Yes.
Okay, so
Please do.
we're all in agreement in the yes to the use, setback, and ceiling height, and we're saying no, do the plane break, do the materials, and then the last condition would be during construction phase and through completion, the lot must remain free of debris and trash, or trash and debris. I can put that trash word in there.
Can I just
Trash and construction debris.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
Andy.
I think it would probably be a good idea to say debris in excess of typical construction site
I just say construction debris.
materials. Because I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I understand the intent. There just might be a point in the construction of this home where, you know, uh, they leave for the day and there's,
I
you know, some,
started the condition out by saying during construction, so I won't be grammatically correct if I use the word construction
There was
at the end. So
yeah, just
help
my
me
thought.
at the beginning then.
Yeah, my thought is that at some point in the construction, there's going to be debris on the site, and I don't want someone to
Right.
come along and say, "Look, there's
Yeah,
debris."
I mean, I can envision that once they break ground and dig a hole, there's going to be dirt for some time while they're actually doing excavation. So I mean, it's tricky because there are times where there's going to be something on the site.
That's what I said.
And
Completion.
you know, I obviously don't want to handcuff the developer uh, because of that, but I get where we're going, but those are just things that obviously if the neighbor that testified has an issue and she decides to call because they've excavated so that they can start their footings and foundations, and she's like, oh, there's debris on the lot, and it's like, well, there is, because we need to actually we we've got to put in footings and foundations, then we've got to backfill that back, and then whatever's left over would be hauled off, but you're not going to haul everything off immediately knowing you have to backfill.
I think personally, we don't even have to address this matter because under the property maintenance code, if they would allow debris to pile up there and Miss Jane would call the Citizen Service Bureau, that would right there start an investigation by which a building inspector would have to go by and say, hey, you all need to clean up your site. And then there might be a conversation between them and the thing, and they may say, well, this is just our debris from whatever, it will be gone in such and such date. So we're probably beating ourselves up over nothing, really. I mean, I get what we're trying to do. We're trying to
Accommodate one person.
right. But
Yeah.
really, in reality, you're not allowed to do this anyway. You know, and had a building inspector been called sooner on the example in Soulard, that hill wouldn't be big. That hill didn't happen overnight. It's been happening for like months. So,
And that's why I said.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
why.
let's scrap that and just go with what we originally said, the one use and the 2 areas. That's going to be my motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made
We
by
already had a second from Mr. Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still want a second at Mr. Dallas?
I'll be happy to second that
Thank you.
revised motion. Yes.
motion made by Mona, seconded by Jim. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Findings?
Won't be a detriment as conditioned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. Appeal number 20642, 3316 Illinois Avenue.
All right, this is my area. I don't have a problem with this. I did have a question about it. I'm just throwing it out there. I've driven by this site. It does sit far enough back you don't see it much from the street, or I don't believe that you would see it much from the street, I should say. It does make sense that you wouldn't have to excavate at the back. I did drive the back of that lot, or the alley, I should say. Just throw my 2 cents out.
I agree with that. I think, you know, it's in tandem with the garage. You're not, you'll probably see something, but it's far enough back. It's in tandem with the garage. I think
It's 100 feet, I think, at
yeah,
least.
they've done what they could. I think it's probably the best solution of that solution.
Anybody else have a thought? I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mona, seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Findings, Mona?
Won't be a detriment.
Thank you. Uh, Appeal number 20643, 5604 Magnolia Avenue.
I don't have a problem with that setback he wants because it's a corner. I mean, you bring it up that far, he's just gonna, I'd rather have the thing back. If you got a corner of two alleys, I'd rather have a setback a little bit further anyway, so you can see around it.
I got a question for Mia. So, we asked him what his hardship was, and he didn't have one. He said it's just, I said, because you just want it, and he said, yeah.
I agree.
Do you have to have a hardship?
This is a area variance, and we should issue variances sparingly. So I have my little nifty folder right here.
So my take on this is that
If you got rid of the breezeway, you could move the garage over.
Nicholas didn't understand what he was testifying to, I believe. If I were him, I would have said that my hardship was because it was a corner lot, and that's creating a difficulty for me because I have to have two very large setbacks.
That's what I was trying to get to is
Yeah, I think he didn't really, do you table it and bring him back to explain that further? Or I don't know, but I think he clearly did not understand what he was answering.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think Jim brought that up, and that's why I brought up, C1, because you can clearly see, because it's a corner lot, that creates the hardship. I mean, that was my take on it from just reviewing. His testimony, unfortunately, did not
Shoot
really
himself in the foot.
explain that, but I would see the hardship as Mary described it. It's that it's the corner lot.
I mean, I saw the minute I looked at it, I was like, that's a problem,
Yeah.
I can see an accident happening, if he builds it out there, I can see an accident happening.
I'm not going to stand in the way.
If this is challenged, the recording does show or reflect that he did not have a hardship. And if you all find that he had a hardship based off of your interpretation of the drawings, one can, I'm just pointing out there what could be challenged, like what would be the argument? They would say that the burden was on the appellant or the applicant to say with their hardship, and they indicate they had none. And the board extended their authority and power by finding this hardship, even though he did not provide it. That would be the challenge.
If he understood what he was testifying to.
So explain that again, Mia, because I think, well, at least I understand what the hardship was. Knowing the hardship, even though he didn't testify to that hardship, how does that affect it?
Right. So now that's the burden is on the applicant, the person the petitioner. And so in this instance, because we definitely took any kind of wiggle room out of there was a direct question and he gave an answer to it and said, well, yeah, there is none other than I just want it or something like that. Or
right. I think we would have been safer had we not asked the question. And when we got into deliberations, we could say, oh, his hardship is because he's on a corner lot. We see that. But because on the record, we asked him directly and he gave us an answer. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I understand it, but I don't think he understood what he was answering to.
I completely agree with you on that
I
too.
agree.
I also have a third thought about this all. If your inclination was to approve it, I don't know who's going to challenge it because he wants it. There was nobody here in opposition of it.
And I see, so what are you trying to say, Mia? That if we approve this, that made it could come back and buy us in about someplace down the road, or somebody could cite that and say, this is what you did?
Yes, potentially. If there is a agreed party, neighbor, this is saying, because we have had that in the past where we will have all the support. Then there's this one neighbor who does not consider themselves to be a part of that neighborhood association or that group. And then that's the one who files the appeal. They are the agreed party. The testimony does not shine, like it does not weigh in our favor because he literally did say on the record he did not have a hardship. And we're finding the opposite.
So if we brought him back,
Potentially.
And he said, oh, I didn't understand what I was trying to tell you. This is my hardship. I did not understand the question. We'd be better off doing it that way. To table it and say, why don't you come back and word it properly.
I'm just advising you what your potential risk is. Now, if that risk could be a small risk or a huge risk, the fact that we can look and see, do we have a letter of support from the neighborhood association on that appeal?
We have a letter of support from the neighborhood association. We also have a letter of support from the alderman.
I don't think he my testimony, I would say here, I don't think he understood. And I'm looking at the drawings and I see a hardship there not only to him, maybe, but also to the community by having a corner that could possibly be a dangerous corner in an alleyway. That's what I see. And I don't think he understood when he answered the question. I don't think he fully understood the ramifications of saying that it's not a hardship to build it this way or that way. I see a potential danger to the public.
Not every decision we all make is 100%, fail-proof. So what I'm saying is I'm advising you all what the potential risk is here based off of the testimony. You can still very well push this through and approve it, but know on the backside that we could still receive a challenge, and it's very likely that it could be overturned because of that. But it does not, I'm not advising you to change your decision. I'm just giving you the possibility for you all to weigh that. Do you want to move forward with approving it, knowing that if there is a aggrieved party, they may very well be able to overturn your decision at the circuit court level? Now there has been times where they will say, hey, this should have never been approved. And I know this case very well. And I could come back to the board and say, hey, we can hear it again. I could potentially try to get it back out of circuit court by trying to work with that attorney. But I'm just giving you full disclosure that testimony could backfire on us.
So perhaps the lesson here is in the future, when we're on the record in the public hearing, the question should not be, do you have a hardship? But the question should be framed more like, in order for the board to grant a variance, they must find a practical difficulty or an unnecessary hardship. Could you please explain to us what your practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship is?
Correct.
Sorry about that, gang.
Thought of that right now, so we'll do that.
That was very good, Mary. Yeah.
I guess it just comes down to how much of a risk the board wants to take. Do you think this is something that if you approved it, you would get challenged on, or not?
I don't think so.
And I also just want to throw out there that this is a live proceeding that is recorded, and then later people can look at it. This is not a closed session right now. So also just throwing it out there that this recording is also out there online and other people can review it as well. So just throwing it out there for you.
We should probably table it and bring them back.
Uh,
He did give a reason. He didn't say, he said the house would not be as appealing or something to that effect to a buyer.
No,
All
it's
right. So he did say something.
he's
But it
trying to
was
make
tied to revenue, as he was saying. I think Mary even kind of summarized it for him. So, and with that being said, that is not a justifiable reason. So
I'm just saying he said something.
yeah.
he did.
what he's trying to do was trying to make everything on the same level. And people that are buying the homes in those areas are usually people who want a one level home. So he's trying to make it so that the people who want to live in the area have a better chance of having a home that has everything more on one level. I also see a hardship there that he did not see as far as traffic wise, as far as having a corner where we have something brought out that far. I could see a truck, maybe like a trash truck or something like that, possibly having a hard time negotiating that corner. So if that be the case, I have no problem bringing him back and saying, look, what are do you understand all the problems you may be having with this?
Now, do you mean the corner of the two alleys or the corner of the alley and the street?
The corner of the two alleys.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Because if you have a trash truck that has to make that turn there, we've brought something out within 2 feet, we may have a hard time making that, he may have a hard time making that turn without going over the people's private property. Or maybe hitting the building. I'm not
hitting his building.
Right. So that's my point. I'm saying is, I think he understood what we were asking. Is it a hardship not to put it back that not I can do whatever you want, I can do this weather. I'm looking at the public safety aspect of it, saying, is this a hardship that we should be looking at? Maybe it's not a hardship for him to say, oh, I can build it here, I can build it here, I can build it wherever you want it. But is that the best place for it to be for public safety?
Thank you, Mel. I agree 100% with what you were coming up with. I get it, but I see the hardship, and I think by going to the letter of the law that it creates a potential hazard. In addition to that, there's very likely a chance that there could be in the scenario Mel just gave, damage to his structure trying to achieve that. So I think personally, I think we understand the hardship, even though
he did
not. And so I don't know. I would have a hard time knowing a hardship that the appellant did not expressly understand, but I understood and then voted it down knowing what the hardship is.
I kind of look at it this way. Some of our responsibility is looking at things in general. It'd be like me trying to have a guy buy a home or build a home for me, and taking his advice on what could possibly be wrong with that, even though I say, well, I want this. And they go, yeah, I wouldn't do that. Well, I think I want to have this here, and the construction guy going, that's a really bad idea. That could potentially harm you. You don't know enough to what you're doing there. You don't understand something. And so he's going to take up that. And I understand these are all public hearings and all that stuff. But I'm saying at this point in time, I see a potential for a problem that we could possibly stop. And I don't care about his profits. I don't care about anything else. I'm looking at public safety and possibly getting around that corner.
Absolutely. Yeah. Although Jim did mention, that it doesn't matter if that, in my mind, whether, the home, potential buyers might be more interested in this versus that. I truly see it as being a problem with the site, and if he's following the zoning requirement, it creates a potential problem that we know exists in practice. So Mel, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second that. Motion made by Mel, seconded by me. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
4 yeses, 1 no. Motion carries. Findings, Mel?
Should not be a detriment as conditioned. There is.
I don't have any, yeah,
It should not be a detriment.
not a detriment. Thank you.
I just want to go on record. I'm doing this strictly out of the public safety, not for his profits, not for anything about him in particular. I just see something there, and the reason I made that motion the way I did was strictly out of a public safety aspect to what I saw.
Noted.
Okay, appeal number 11993, 4164 South Grand.
I have a question for, I guess, for staff. He has sent letters with the violations, correct?
Yes.
Because I see the reports from Drea. Just want to clarify that when we write a report, he gets a letter, right?
There is a letter that was sent after the report, yes, after the initial. Now, she does not send a separate letter when she or any of the other staff does the investigation the day before the hearing. It would do no good to send a letter, they couldn't get it. But the initial letter he got when we conducted the initial investigation, he got a letter. It has a copy of the variance in it with all of the conditions, and then it has a copy of the report telling him what conditions he is not in compliance with. So on June 22nd, when the initial was done, he was not in compliance with condition number 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 11, 12, 14, and 15.
Oh, wait. We're on 41 South, 64 South Grand.
Oh, I'm in the wrong one. I'm sorry. I'm on the Broadway one. Let me grab that.
When you said June 22nd, that raised my.
Yeah. So when the original was done on, well, this was a continuance, so its original was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was the BPS.
Yeah, it was the BPS one. So there was an investigation done on January 14th. And then there was an investigation done. It was continued then. So then there was an investigation done on January 14th, and then a letter was sent to them on January 18th, telling them the decision was to table. And then we went back out on July 21st, and there were still 2 conditions that they were in violation of.
But clearly not clearly, but I'm just making sure that at some point, the one condition where we're putting these items the Tylenol, the cigarillos, that was communicated to him. You know, in that basically the way as I see it in Drea's report.
Yes.
Andy?
Yes, Andy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Board of Public Service documents, and there's a letter. This was the revocation of conditional use permit notice sent by Board of Public Service on October 9th of 2025. And they cited conditions 4, 5, 6, and that's it. 4 was the one about the sales of illegal substances and prohibited controlled things. 5 was for signage, and 6 is for additionally for
The sign permit. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So this, just so everybody's clear on the motion here, this is an appeal of BPS revocation. So your motion is either to uphold the BPS revocation or to overturn the BPS revocation.
In order to overturn it, you have to have at least 4 votes.
Yes.
To uphold, we don't need 4, just 3-2.
I believe
to uphold the revocation, it would only take 3. Is that what you're saying, Mia?
Yeah, if you're changing it, yeah.
How does the nuisance affect this property? Does it have the nuisance ordinance attached to it?
It does.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Mary.
I think I understand the process a little bit better now after listening to Officer Heine. If I get it wrong, correct me. But it appears to me that if you get a nuisance letter, you're required to have some, by getting that letter, you're required to have some communication with the problem properties unit. And then it's through that communication that I believe the problem properties unit determines if your nuisance letter is withdrawn or not. And I have to assume that since this nuisance letter was issued so long ago and it's still on the record, and we heard the officer say that they've had no communication, that it still stands as a public nuisance. Is that correct? Or not? Or
Okay, so yes, the ending question, yes, that is
Okay.
still that is correct. It is still a nuisance property.
Okay.
So when they are designated a nuisance property, that letter requests that they reach out to set up a meeting to understand why they received that designation. So it does put the ball in their court to reach out to that team to initiate those conversations to see what exactly is needed to be in compliance. Now, if that's never established, then it does make it a challenge to get to compliance because one, finding who is the rightful owner or the person in care and control can be a challenge, especially when there's a LLC name associated with the entity. You don't know who is the proper person to speak to. So unless there is some kind of, I don't know, egregious activity like a shooting where the store clerk or somebody was involved, that will kind of make us go on site to try to figure out who exactly we should be speaking with. But otherwise, they would just continue to send them notices, hoping that they would reach out to that team in order to learn and understand why they're getting that designation.
So because they didn't respond to any of the letters, we don't do anything about it?
So what they do is they continue to monitor it and they will issue summons for their failure to engage, as well as ongoing incidents that they feel like they could have prevented by engaging in the process. So for example, if there's loitering on the lot, right? And they issue the CMV because of an incident that occurred on the lot. If they get additional phone calls for service that relate to that, and they do not see security, if they don't see any kind of activity that the property owner did to try to mitigate or abate the nuisance, they will issue another summons to that property owner or whoever the registered agent is for the LLC to try to get to compliance or get them in so we can start talking. But if they don't show up, they go warrant status. It's not again, there's nothing in the city that's fail safe. But
There's
that is how the
nothing in-
process works. Sorry, say it again, Mona.
You said there's nothing in the
City that's fail safe. Like, and they were like saying that that's the process and that's the hope that by issuing summons that they will come to court and then they would, participate in the process. But even with that, they don't participate. They just go warrant status. And to hold an LLC accountable, it is really hard to do.
Okay.
And
I move that we uphold the revocation.
I second.
motion made by Ann, seconded by Mona. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
Opposed? Motion carries.
There we go, Ann. Woo.
Appeal number appeal number 20563, 2823 North Broadway.
I've got some questions, and maybe I didn't do a good job of drawing this out during the hearing, but the property towards the back, the sort of a beat up parking lot towards the back, there's pictures of it in all the reports. And if I look at St. Louis City properties, that's not included as 2823 North Broadway. So I'm trying to get a little sense of really what's under question here. Where's the striping supposed to be? Where's the bollards supposed to be? Because those two properties, there's two parcels called 812 and 814 Wright Street.
So the variance doesn't apply to those parcels. The variance only applies to, it's actually a hyphenated address of 2823 through 25.
Yeah, I noticed 25, what's on the building.
Right.
Okay. So that's where there's no bollards, that and the striping is very faint. He mentioned that it was striped way back in 2017, I think. But there's
only
also,
that I could find, right?
Okay.
How do we handle that, Mary? Because it appears that he maybe doesn't have occupancy to operate on the full parcel.
So because there's been no zoning action taken on those others, I have nothing to revoke there. A building inspector would have to cite them for not operate or for conducting business on a parcel that they don't have an occupancy permit to conduct business on.
How do we handle that? Do we postpone this and get a building inspector out there to deal with the parcels that are not have occupancy so we could encumber all this together?
Well, you will never see the parcels that are not covered by the variance here unless the building inspector goes out and he cites them for being on parcels that they don't have an occupancy for. And then two things have to happen. Either the building inspector is normally gonna direct them, you need to go apply for an occupancy on these parcels. And if they did that, then that's gonna get, well, I shouldn't say that because I haven't checked the zoning, but I'm assuming the zoning of those parcels is the same. And then this would be back, those parcels would be back before the adjustment, Board of Adjustment, to try to get a variance to cover them. Does that make sense? I feel
Yes,
like
ma'am.
that's a really choppy answer.
It does make sense.
Well, I'll tell you where my brain is going with this. He obviously employs people, or there's people who use those tow trucks, run those tow trucks. So you potentially either reducing the amount of business those people make or putting certain people out of business.
We don't want to do that.
I think we generally don't like to do that. The 2823 parcel is the fenced in area. We state in the condition, we want bollards to prevent cars from rolling across into the sidewalks. Where those are fenced in, I think that would be, even without the bollards there, I think it would be very difficult for somebody to actually drive off into the sidewalk. And then as far as the tow truck being parked on the street, I think he's heard us loud and clear that won't happen again. So I'll tell you my inclination, if we're just looking at 2823 North Broadway at this point, is to not revoke the variance, and that's where my head is at right now.
So you don't should have to get a sign permit for his sign.
He needs a sign permit.
Doesn't have a permit.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we not revoke it, but stress that you still got to go get that sign permit?
You'd have to continue it, and then
You have to continue it.
go.
Yeah.
He said he had a permit. I would say table it, let him bring in all the equipment, all the verification that he had, that he did get his permit. Let him find it. He should still have that in his business records if he's got it, and also get whatever he got from the city that said he could have the 6-inch concrete instead of the ballards. Bring everything in then.
Mel, he should make an application to change his conditions.
But I know this, but if he went to the city and they said that works, he didn't even understand he had to bring a condition in to come back.
Because he didn't read his conditions.
But if the condition, Martin, if it was a Mona, if it said ballards and the guy goes to the building division and asks somebody, does this count? Does this constitute a ballard? And the guy goes, yes, it does, and he does it.
Have we all been to the city where the right hand says something different than the left hand? I certainly have. He still has to meet those conditions, and he still needs to get those changed.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have the same problem again.
Agreed. I will also say that we have even said either wheel stops or bollards. So we have done one, required one or the other. Obviously, I wasn't in this particular case. I guess bollards.
We didn't.
Is what we said, but and perhaps we should consider that in the future that wheel stops are bollards, because we've done that previously where there was an option.
Well, actually, number 4, the condition reads, all parking spaces established on the east, west, north, south property lines shall be approved with wheel stops, or ballards shall be installed along the east, west, north, and south property line, so as to prohibit vehicles on the lot from encroaching into the public sidewalk. So he hasn't done either one, because his lip thing is not a ballard, or it's not a wheel stop.
It's a wheel. So if you've got a 6-inch curve, that's a wheel stop.
Yeah,
that would actually, instead of individual wheel stops, he's just created one long continuous wheel stop.
I can tell you that when we wrote this condition up, we intended for it to be individual wheel stops. We did not intend for a continuous long line. We intended for an individual wheel stop that was inside of a parking space that met the code.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
From an architect,
That.
how do you see it as an architect, Anthony?
Well, since this is something that just came up, let me say that I am not a licensed architect, but have a degree in architecture from a from an accredited school of architecture, and have owned an architecture firm. I believe that if his curb is in the same location as you would put individual wheel stops, then there is no issue here at all. If his curb sits out further than a wheel stop would typically sit, that then creates a problem. You still end up, in effect, you have a wheel stop, the wheel stop at the curb, and that would be it. The only difference is, if it's further out, then the front of the vehicle or back of the vehicle would sit further into the walkway. But if there's a fence around it, then that still doesn't really apply. Yes, Ann?
I got the impression in listening to the owner that if we gave him clear conditions, I believe he would try to adhere to them. I don't know. I just got that impression from him. He seemed willing. I could be wrong, and that may not even matter.
Remember that this is a revocation hearing.
Oh,
So you're here to vote.
okay.
If he's in compliance or he's not in compliance. You don't have the power to change his condition
Okay.
in this scenario.
I
But
see.
you can continue it, and you can order and give him an opportunity to come back to you and clean up the conditions, which would probably not be a bad idea, because as I look at this whole thing, I think that the conditions from the earlier variance and then the conditions from the later variance should have been all combined into one and attached. And what we were changing should have been in italics, which is how we normally do it. I don't know why we didn't do it that way on this one, but it would give us an opportunity to clean it up and to get all of his conditions on one variance and to go over every single condition with him in a public hearing to make sure he understands.
Okay. Well,
Let's
I
do
move
that.
that we do that, Mary.
Pardon?
I move that we do everything you just said.
So is your motion to continue the hearing and
Continue.
have the opportunity to come in and apply to amend his conditions?
Absolutely.
Okay, and how long do you want to continue that?
Give him
scheduling for October right now, so 90 days is probably a good
90 days. 90 days.
Up to 90 days.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ann. I'm just waiting for your aye since you made the motion.
Aye. Yeah.
All of those opposed? Motion carries.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Not before you
Can we get a? Oh wait, never mind. We don't need findings. I'm sorry.
No.
So when they have like hours of operation that they testify to, if they advertise different hours, like 24-hour towing or something like that, and that's inconsistent with what their hours of operation for their conditions, would that be something that would be a violation if again, it's not something you can find on site, but like it's on their website. And they in 24-hour towing means your operation is outside of those working hours. So I'm just trying to understand how zoning staff
So
deals with that.
I don't have an exact example because of towing, that might merit a little discussion. But an example I can point to is someone who once had permission to run sort of I don't know, it was like a special dinner party they would throw for a limited amount of people, but they would advertise it on their website and do it at their residential home. So they needed a use variance to do that. And they had hours that they could do that. And they were advertising different hours, but they were also doing some other stuff. So we brought them, they were also violating some other conditions. So we brought them in for a revocation hearing, and the neighbor submitted a printout from the website showing the hours. And so, we told them kind of like what we're saying to this guy, here's the hours you can operate. If you want to operate differently, you're going to have to apply for an amendment to your conditions and come back before us. It's a trickier one to catch, but if people give us information, as evidence that they print off the internet, we've used that before.
Well, the reason why I'm asking this question is because is it just the operation on site at the address? Like maybe they're not towing the vehicles to that location until 7 a.m. or whenever they open. But right. I'm just trying to understand, because they do they may advertise 24 towing because they want to be on call and receive that job. But if they don't take that vehicle to this site, are they may still be in compliance with these conditions? I'm just trying to understand, do you all consider the website, the online advertising of hours when you're looking at your conditions?
It's not, I don't think it's something that we do proactively. Like I said, it comes up whenever there's a revocation hearing and somebody says, well, he testified he's only going to be open till 9, but on his website, he advertises that he'll be open till 11. This is a little bit different because the towing thing, technically the towing could be 24 hours. They could be doing the towing 24 hours, but if their business says nothing starts here till 7 a.m., as long as they don't bring the truck there till after 7 a.m., I don't think that I can put somebody in a car and have them follow the tow truck around to see if they're towing cars from other places, because those other places won't be tied to this variance.
Correct.
That's how I view it. And somebody sees it differently.
He said he's had this place over in Illinois. If he went over there, then he's not, then he's not in violation.
Like he has a place to keep them.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
asking because I see that you all have in his condition, there are specific hours, and I was just curious because he does advertise to me.
So he may consider amending that as well with the towing, or since he has the towing.
It's also supposed to be landscaped.
Anthony?
All right, I'm running late here on a meeting. I
No.
need to finish up.
Yep.
I was going to request a closed session.
I can't. I gotta go.
Can we do a closed session without Mona?
We still have quorum.
I'm sorry, say that again.
You're saying you still would have quorum.
Oh yeah, there's still 4 of us, so we could.
Frozen.
Is there any well, so let's go back. Before we will go into closed session, Jim. We'll vote to go into closed session.
Would you like to vote on the minutes now?
Yes, that's actually what I was
here. Okay.
That's what I was getting ready to do.
All right.
I was saying that.
I was reading your mind. No, just kidding.
Meeting minutes.
These are the minutes from the July 8th.
Yeah, correct.
I read the minutes. I made one minor correction suggestion to Dre. She says she's made that modification, and I would move that we approve the minutes from July 8th meeting.
And I saw that correction, Jim. Thanks. I'll second that. Motion made by Jim, seconded by me. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes accepted.
I'm sorry, I have to do. I'm gonna step out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona.
Aye.
Thank you, Mona.
Okay. Get a roll to go into closed session. Ann?
Yeah, yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mel? Was that a yes, Mel?
Yes.
Okay. And yes from the chair. We will now go into closed session.
Yeah. Let's give Andy as the recordings. Okay.
Okay. Mary, new business.
I have no new business to report. We will have a meeting next week.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn. Is that what you're looking for, Anthony?
Yep. Is that a second, Jim?
It is. Second.
Okay.
Who made the
Okay.
motion? Mr.
Mel.
Oh, Mel. Okay, that's the one. Thank you.
Motion made by Mel, seconded by Jim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Next week.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everybody.